What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here. You bet, as you know, because you're watching the show on YouTube. YouTube.com/@thecostos. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't liked, hit the like button. Leave us a comment. Every little bit helps. We had so much good stuff here, Radio Row. I'm about to get out of here. I'm leaving in like 20 minutes. I can't wait to go home. But this week, we had so many good guests that not everybody can make the show. So we have a YouTube exclusive show now with great guests and great content from Radio Row, Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco, California. Subscribe to the show again. Hit the button, hit the like button, and comment. Every little bit helps. We start the fun with former Raiders general manager, the great Mike Mayock. When you think about player evaluation and the NFL draft and breaking down the NFL as a whole, few better in the history of the league than my guest at this time. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm not sure I can live up to that, but let's go.
Oh, I am confident you can.
I don't know, brother.
Mike Mayock joining us on the show, former NFL general manager, Westwood One Sports NFL analyst, and part of, and we had Big E on the show earlier.
Oh, he's awesome, man.
I mean, and I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Like wrestling and football, this is right in my wheelhouse. Will be part of the evaluation, Sumer Sports. Yeah. I already know it because I interviewed him February 12th on the Sumer Sports YouTube
Yeah, that's
page.
The first of a 10-part series. We go position by position. We start with the quarterbacks, and it's a kind of cool marriage between crotchety old guys like me that just want to grind tape and write reports, and these 27-year-old data scientists that have a completely different look at evaluation. And to be honest with you, that's where the NFL is going. I mean, there's a marriage between the two, and you got to be open to it or you're going to get left behind.
So I want to be thoughtful about how I ask this question, because I think kind of using analytics as a catch-all is not fair to you or to like the or to like, as you said, the 27-year-old like data scientist. But kind of like where the league is headed and the proliferation of it. Do you ever feel like it's like not bad, but maybe too much?
The way I think of it is with the proliferation of AI, which can do things faster than the human, there are certain things that as a former GM, I'd be crazy to not take advantage of that can save time and energy, whether it's your coaches or your scouts. But there's other things like game time decisions, whether you go for two, different decisions of game management, where I don't think the AI is always right. And the AI doesn't know if your quarterback's beat up and you got to go for two because he might not make it to overtime. I mean, there's 1,000 different points, but I think anything that can give you a real good cross-check is what I think is good.
What's so funny about this, and look, I'm not obviously an NFL head coach, but I love the league, right? And I always felt I feel like kind of John Harbaugh was one of the first that kind of like led the revolution going for two, going for it on fourth downs. And it's reached a point now, and I was always Mr. Go for it. 4th and 3, go for it. Yep. Go for touchdowns. Touchdowns better than field goals. Yep. Go for it on fourth down. It kind of feels like it's reached a point where, and it's not just me, I think other people feel this way too, Mike, where should you actually kick the field goal? Should you punt sometime? It feels like it's gone so far in the other direction that I think the next correction is going to be back towards kicking. Do you get that sense at all?
I do. And I think my point, at a certain time, common sense has to come into play. Look at Denver a couple of weeks ago.
What did you think of that?
Well, I'm not sure Shawne was doing it because of analytics. Shawne is a gut feel guy and all, but you got a chance to go up 2 scores with a backup quarterback, go up 10-0, and there's no guarantee you're scoring a touchdown anyway. The ball's on the 13 or 14-yard line. So at that point, with potential weather coming in, knowing it's going to be probably a low-scoring game anyway, I'm all in on kicking the field. When I was, and this is not second guessing because I was sitting there prior to it going, what are you doing? You got to get 2 scores up. They haven't even scored yet. You got a backup quarterback, all those factors. So, yeah, I think sometimes we're letting common sense leave the room.
Do you feel like it's going to swing back?
I do over time. I mean, 5 years ago, I was telling everybody that NFL offenses are going to start getting bigger, stronger, 6 offensive linemen, fullbacks again, because defenses have gotten smaller, lighter, and quicker to deal with the spread offense.
Or like what the Rams did with 3 tight ends this year, right?
And it's like I saw a quote from one of their guys the other day saying, do you think we sat around as a staff last summer and said we're going to major in 13 personnel? No. It grows organically as you need to deal with a problem or an issue. And I thought that was a great answer. But the point is, just like what you're talking about with AI and analytics, yeah, I think it'll swing back again more towards the middle.
What do you think is, and this could be offense or defense, is the next schematic like innovation in the NFL? Is it trending more towards defense now, you think, where defense has the advantage?
I think defense is always playing catch up and always will, especially in the NFL, because the NFL wants offense. So they're going to go in the offseason and the owners are going to get in a little room and change a couple rules. And it's going to be, again, we're going to do something.
Like ban the single high safety, maybe?
Or the two high safety.
Right,
Or I mean, we're going to watch Seattle play a lot of top-down zone on Sunday. And there are a lot of teams that are, but that's not new. I always laugh. My dad, who was my high school football coach, always used to say there's nothing new in football. Like when the Wildcat was the big thing, he laughed and said, that's the old single wing.
Yeah.
That's what I played in high school. It's the same thing. And now I kind of go, yeah, I've seen a lot of this before, and we're getting smaller, quicker. We're letting quarterbacks run. Defenses are but it's going to change, and that's why it's going to change. And I don't know. It's who knows what's going to happen.
I want to say this so you don't have to. So I'm going to ask you to name one person. This does not mean that Mike Mayock thinks that others aren't great. Just that people can take things different ways, right? This could be an offensive or defensive coach. Who do you think is the best schematic X's and O's coach in the NFL right now when it comes to game planning, either offense or defense, and why?
I think in the conversation would be Vic Fangio, defense coordinator in Philadelphia.
Who looks like he's coming back for another year.
Yeah, the Eagles went through that last year, and I don't think Vic has seen an offense he hasn't seen before. And he's got a plan for everything. They work hard. It's kind of old school in training camp. They tackle, they work hard. And Vic is, I think, fantastic from an X and O perspective. I think when I watch Ben Johnson on offense, when I watch Liam Cohen, two things strike me. And they're two teams that had major turnarounds this year. The connection they have with their quarterback that goes beyond just X's and O's. So we're talking X's and O's, but they're demanding more from their quarterback. And both Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams are different guys this year. And I believe it's direct influence from their coaches. So to me, that's a big deal. And that goes into what you just asked me a minute ago. Like, it's not just schematic game planning on game day, but it's also, especially at quarterback, what are you doing to develop and support the infrastructure for this kid?
Can I ask you about Fangio? I feel like, just my opinion, maybe he doesn't get the credit he should. It feels like the game I'm going to reference, I'm sure you'll remember, the Bears-Rams game in 2018 on Sunday Night Football, where the Bears totally shut down like Sean McVay, Jared Goff, and that Rams offense, and Bill Belichick kind of used that in the Super Bowl, right, against Jared Goff and the Rams. It kind of feels like, and I didn't play just from how much I read and listen to stuff about the league. Yeah. Like that game and that game plan kind of like set the stage for what defensive football has become. Yeah. Do you think Vic gets the credit he deserves?
Vic's a funny guy. I love Vic. He's my age. He's a crotchety old dude, old school. Probably frustrated that his head coaching career didn't go different level, but doesn't matter. What he does on defense is unbelievable. And he's a top down guy. We're going to tackle. We're going to rally to the ball. And that's what we're seeing more and more of because these offenses were getting so explosive.
Couple more minutes here with Mike Mayock. We'll talk about the Sumer Sports Show, the evaluation at the end of the interview. Let's talk about Super Bowl 60, Patriots and Seahawks. Yeah. Who do you like and what's the deciding factor in the game?
I think Seattle's a better football team from top to bottom. What I'm most fascinated about is wondering whether or not Drake May, second-year quarterback that had an MVP-type season within a kind of indifferent playoff season, whether or not he can kind of throw this team on his back and say, okay, fellas, it's our time, let's go. Because I think they're going to have to score somewhere between 26 and 32 points to win this game. So, and the only way they're going to do it, in my opinion, is both his legs and his arm.
So that would tend to have me believe that you think Seattle's going to be able to score on this New England defense.
Well, yeah, New England's defense played great in the three postseason games. I think they've given up 26 points and generated 8 turnovers. So they're playing great. But Seattle's a balanced attack. Seattle has got a really good offensive line. Smith and Jigba has played out his butt.
Is he the best receiver in the league?
I'd put him in the conversation with Jamar Chase and the guy in Minnesota.
Justin Jefferson's
Justin
pretty, yep,
Jefferson.
Yep,
Puka Nacua is a great conversation because of the way he plays. But yeah, they're in the conversation for sure.
So, see, you think Seattle's going to, and I only say this way because I feel like a lot of guests we've had on it, that doesn't mean they have to be right, you wrong, or vice versa,
right,
thinks that New England's defense, and this is going to be a defensive struggle, and the Patriots' defense will hold down the Seahawks' offense, and you see it differently.
I think it's going to be defense early. I think they're going to feel each other out, and I think as the game progresses, Sam Darnold and that offense is going to start to click. They're going to put points on the board. They put 31 on against the Rams with a really good defense. When they've needed Darnold, he's been there. He's had a big year. Against the Rams, he went for 350, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. And you know this as well as I do because you follow the game. We can talk about all this stuff all we want, but if teams turn it over or can't score in the red zone, it changes the dynamic of everything.
Last one for you before we talk about the evaluation. Raiders are going to hire Clint Kubiak as their coach. Smart money is they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza from Indiana first overall. We talked off air. I know you've already started doing work on the NFL draft. What is your initial opinion, and you can change your mind as we move closer, on Fernando Mendoza as a pro prospect?
Yeah, the more tape I watch of him, the more I like him. Like when I first put his tape on, I thought, okay, he's not overwhelming physically. He's got a good arm, not a great arm. He's a good enough athlete, but certainly not a disruptive athlete. But the more I watched him, especially in pressure situations, the first 3 games I put on, I wanted to see him on the road against good football teams with loud crowd noise. And the first 3 I watched were at Iowa, at Oregon, and at Penn State.
And the Penn State and Iowa game, the Penn State game especially with the final drive.
All 3 of those games, but especially Penn State, showed me his nervous system, which I'm big on nervous system. Like in the national championship game, Carson Beck probably has more physical tools, but his nervous system's different.
And threw that a bad pick at the end.
A bad pick at the end, but I've watched tape of him for 3 years now, and the bad decisions and bad throws seem to come in critical times. Whereas Mendoza seems to play at his best when his best is needed. So when I look at him and what he could be, best case, I see Matt Ryan. I see a big, long, lean guy.
Pretty good.
With a good arm, not a great arm. And here are the 3 things he's got to do to play at Matt's level. 90% of the game's got to be above his shoulders, which I think he can do. He's got to be a freaking assassin in big moments, which I think he's already shown that he is. The last one I don't know yet, and I won't know probably, is he willing, like Matt, to make it a 365-day-a-year warpath to do nothing but make that team a Super Bowl team and push them in one direction? If he can do those 3 things, I think he can play like Matt.
And not exactly the same offensive scheme, but Kubiak, obviously, with Mike and his dad, Gary, kind of be a similar scheme to where Matt won an MVP with Kyle Shanahan, right, in 2016.
For sure. And what it is let's run the ball, let's play some defense, let's play action, and let's give our quarterback chances to take shots down the field. We'll get some vertical threats, and we're going to win games in the 4th quarter.
Tell us about the evaluation coming up on Sumer Sports.
Yeah, so if you imagine crotchety old men like me that love to grind tape and write scouting reports, we've got 25, 30 scouts, and with over 500 years of NFL experience, 500 years. And you take that and you meld it with a bunch of 27-year-old data science that want to tell us about AI and why we don't know what we're doing. And the beauty of it is it kind of reflects where NFL buildings are going right now with what we talked about earlier, the analytics, the AI. There's some helpful things that AI can do. And what this show does, we start on February 12th on Thursday. It's every Thursday for the next 10 weeks at a different position. We go over players like Mendoza, Carson Beck, some of the bigger names in the draft at each position. We argue about them. We tell stories from the old days a little bit, but mostly we're trying to hone in on what's evaluation.
I can't wait to watch this.
I interviewed 4 plus or minus Hall of Fame guys: Howie Long, Luke Kuechly, Max Crosby, and Steve Smith Sr. And I asked them each about instincts, and I got chill bumps listening to them. Like, how long did it take you to trust your instincts? How do you develop instincts? How does it separate you? And their answers were so similar in different words, different experiences, but the common denominator is really cool. And I'm not going to say what it is, but it shows a lot about what it takes to be great at the next level.
I'm not kidding. I am going to watch the hell out of this.
I hope you do.
I'm going to. It's going to be awesome. Mike Mayock joining us here on You Better You Bet. The show will continue on the other side. You Better You Bet rolls on San Francisco, California, the site of Super Bowl 60. Westwood One Sports presented by BetMGM with me, Nick Costos, and my good friend, the great Bryant McFadden, Super Bowl champion of the Pittsburgh Steelers, star NFL analyst for our friends at CBS Sports HQ. Yeah. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Man, it's always a pleasure, man, get a chance to chop it up with you.
It's good to see you, my man. And I want to talk about you for a second and how awesome you are. And you were great when you started on the air to where you're at now. Tell me about your journey as a broadcaster analyzing the NFL for CBS.
You know what? It's almost like becoming a rookie all over again, you know, trying to understand the ins and outs, the nuances that's tied to being a high-level analyst and just learning from great people. You remember when I first started, me and you were tied to the hip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was
and
like,
you were awesome then.
Yeah, I mean, I was, picking up so many different things from different quality people, and you were one of those individuals. I'll always love your energy and the passion you display when you're talking about whatever it is you're talking about. And I'm the same way. And I think also too, you can't be boring. Nobody wants to watch or listen to an individual who's boring, right? We can go to the library if we want to get that type of activity. You know what I mean? Here, when we're talking about sports, it's my job to make people feel how I feel about whoever it is or what team I'm talking about. So I love it. I love it. I talk ball. I watch ball and I talk ball, man. I have no complaints, man. I love it.
Let's talk some ball right now.
Yeah.
Your old head coach, no longer the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin stepping down after the wild card loss to Houston. Your thoughts on that, or what and why?
I was surprised. And the reason why I was surprised is because I felt like he still had the drive, the energy to continue to coach and coach at a high level. I had an opportunity to visit, like I do every training camp, the Pittsburgh Steelers, this training camp, talk with him. And we were just in Latrobe, PA, talk with him. And his energy was there. He was so hyped about this upcoming season, the new additions with Aaron Rodgers and some of the others. So I don't know what happened between then and the end of the season, but when you've coached ball as long as he's coached, I know we highlight the 19 years in Pittsburgh, but remember he was a DC 1 year in Minnesota, which is 20 years. I can't remember exactly how long he was there in Tampa, but he was clearly in the NFL coaching almost close to 30 years, if not more. Not to mention his college opportunities as a coach. So you're talking about north of 30 years of doing the same thing where you're not able to be the family man and be around your kids. That takes a toll.
I want to give you my opinion here.
What you got?
And get your thought on that. Because I say it on the show in the wake of Mike Tomlin resigning. Mike Tomlin's going to get another head coaching job. Like, there's no question about it, and I think he can be great. My opinion, BMAC, is that the expiration date had been reached. And 10 years in between playoff wins, hadn't won since 2016, right? Going to the AFC Championship game, losing to the Patriots, right? Mm-hmm. And just going 9-8, 10-7 every year. Like, yes, it's great to finish 500 or better, but then get your doors blown off in the first round of the playoffs. So from my vantage point, I think this was good that this happened. Not that he's not a good coach, but that it probably reached the end of his time in Pittsburgh. Agree or disagree with that?
I disagree. My rebuttal to that would be, I feel like if the Pittsburgh Steelers were here in San Francisco getting ready to play on Sunday and win the Super Bowl 60, I still feel like he would have walked away. I think it had nothing to do with the inability to be successful in postseason play. I think it had nothing to do with that.
Or are you just guessing?
I'm just guessing. I think it had nothing to do with how the season ended in the loss to Houston. I think it was just the expiration date on the milk ran its course, in my opinion. I really do. And I don't think he's going to coach again.
You think he's done? So he's going to be like another Steelers coach,
Bill Cowher. Because remember when Bill Cowher walked away, we were a year removed from winning a Super Bowl, and that season we didn't make the playoffs. He walked away, still very, very young in his coaching life.
Everyone thought he was going to come back.
Everyone thought he would, and he never did. Because now you get a taste of what normalcy is like. Yeah, I can be around my family and my friends and do normal things. And I think when Coach Cowher got a taste of that, it was like, do I want to go back into that life again and recreate everything all over again, especially with a new organization?
And Bill Cowher's been killing it on CBS for a long time.
Yes.
The rumors are that Mike Tomlin's going to sign with Fox. Let's assume that happens, and Mike Tomlin's on the Fox pregame show on NFL Sunday. My opinion, he's going to be awesome, right? Like, how is that not going to be incredible for Fox if they make that hire?
I mean, we got a glimpse of Mike Tomlin every day we heard from him in terms of getting us prepared or motivated for whoever it was we were playing, the Tomlinisms and things like that. And it's must-see TV. It would be must-see TV.
Okay, you cannot answer this question by saying the standard is the standard. What is your favorite Mike Tomlinism?
Nobody cares about the labor pain. It's your job to deliver the baby.
Can you give us another one?
It's a 5-star matchup because we're in it. That was our mantra in 2008 when we went on that Super Bowl run, and he made it known that people are watching us because of us. It didn't matter who we were playing. This brand is watchable. This brand attracts viewership. So just know that whenever we play, it's a 5-star matchup because we're in it. It would be a 5-star matchup if we didn't play anybody. But because we're here in this stadium and we got that Steeler uniform on, everybody's watching us.
You bet. Westwood One Sports. Nick Costa is joined by Super Bowl champion of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bryant McFadden. Does an amazing job covering the NFL for CBS Sports HQ. I watch you with Joe Busso and others in the Stanford studio. You guys are absolutely crushing it. BMAC does an amazing job. I have to give you my opinion on the Steelers' new coaching hire.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I actually think, and I just want to be consistent with what I say on the show when you're not here, I think Mike McCarthy is actually underrated. Everyone talks about him like he's like a buffoon, and he's won 1,000,000 games, like beat you guys in the Super Bowl, then Super 45 with the Packers and the Steelers. Like, he's a really good coach. My thing, though, BMAC, with the Steelers, I call it the cycle of 9-8, the cycle of 10-7, this vicious cycle where not good enough to win a championship, but never bad enough to like bottom out and get a great quarterback at the top of the draft. And to me, I would have rather seen this be more of a rebuild. We know that's not what Art Rooney wants to do, right? He wants to compete this year. I just don't see it. I don't like the hire for that reason. What do you say about Mike McCarthy being hired? Agree or disagree with me?
The reason why I had questions with the hire because it was a total different thing than what they've done in years past, and going younger, defensive oriented. When you look at Chuck Noll, when you look at Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher, all coaches I think in their 30s, and I think Coach Noll was in his 41, but younger, right? And they were first year head coaches. And then when you talk about McCarthy, when you look at an organization, they have more championships than head coaches. We got 6. This will be the 4th head coach. Where is he in his coaching life? Right, he's 62, right? So where is he? I understand the fire is still burning, but for how long, right? And so those are my concerns. But then as I assess and kind of sit back and let it, digest a little bit, I think I'm okay with it. I'm more concerned about the entirety of his staff. That's what I'm more concerned about. Who is going to be on this staff to be able to,
like Patrick Graham running the defense? I love that hire.
I'm a bit concerned with that hire.
Really? Why?
Because with the Raiders, you never really saw a serviceable defensive unit at best.
I feel like the Steelers have way more players.
And they do, but also too, one of the things that Mike McCarthy emphasized during his presser was that he was going to keep the origin of a 3-4 in place. Patrick Graham is more known as a 4-3 guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So now doing something that he's never really been known to do, even though in sub packages you usually have 4 defensive linemen anyway with, nickel and dime packages. But, how will that play in the part knowing that has to be the origin of our defense?
Are you surprised the Ravens fired John Harbaugh?
I am, but then I'm not. Losing to the Pittsburgh, how they lost. You talked about something with Mike Tomlin, like the expiration date, running this course. I kind of feel the same way about that situation in Baltimore.
Are you surprised the Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott?
I am, because of how they lost. 5 turnovers and 4 came from your star quarterback. Right?
Can I give you a counter?
What you got?
And I'll say this about John Harbaugh also. In the history of the NFL, there's never been a head coach quarterback pairing that's been together as long, and it's the same draft and it's the same coaches, right? John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson, Sean McDermott and Josh Allen, that have never even gotten to a Super Bowl, that have won a Super Bowl. So I think they're both. I'm a Giants fan. I'm jacked up about John Harbaugh coaching my team, but I felt like Harbaugh needed to go, and I felt like McDermott needed to go, because at what point? And look, you played, you won at the highest level, right? At what point do you say this isn't working? We need to try something new.
You have to make that. I think that's more deserving for Baltimore, because look at their division. You didn't win the division, and I understand you had injuries, But in terms of the quarterback that he's had the luxury of coaching.
And like the Bills didn't win the division, but your point, New England won 14 games.
Yeah, New England's here.
New England won 14 games. It's in the Super Bowl now.
And they're here,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And the coach who took over for New England, even though it was first year in New England, he was a really good coach in Tennessee.
Coach of the year in Tennessee, took them to the championship game with Ryan Tannehill.
Yes, with an up-and-coming, legit, I don't want to say superstar yet, but high-level quarterback in Drake May. Hey, Aaron Rodgers 42. DK Metcalf and who?
Yeah, nobody.
Oh, nobody.
Yeah.
Right? And also, too, if you look at Harbaugh, I feel like he did less with more when you look at having Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar Jackson should have won 3 MVPs. I felt like he was the MVP winner a year ago.
Josh Allen got like a Lifetime Achievement Award last year with the MVP.
You know he did. Yeah. Because Lamar Jackson's season last year was better than any other MVP.
And he was also first team All-Pro, and Josh won MVP.
Come on.
And look, Josh was great too.
Yeah, Josh is great too, but that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at the Baltimore side of things more so than Shawne McDermott. Now, Shawne McDermott, they made their decision, okay, cool, but the loss wasn't on Shawne McDermott. That losing to Denver, that had nothing to do with no pass catchers. If you just protect the football, yeah. Nick, if you only have 4 turnovers, you win.
Yeah.
If it's just 4, and you still almost won with that.
Better chance of winning a Super Bowl in the future, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, and why?
Josh Allen.
Why? Because
I love the connection that he already has with Joe Brady. So we don't have to think about what we will see. We kind of know. James Cook is younger than Derrick Henry. I had a chance to talk with Derrick Henry yesterday. He still says he feels really, really good. But we know eventually Father Time is going to surface. What happens when Derrick Henry is no longer there? Right? We know he will be there in 2026, but after the fact.
Oh, it's Keaton Mitchell time.
Right?
I'm just a big fantasy football player,
yeah,
so that's my response.
And Keaton Mitchell has had moments, but we don't know what he can be if he is the guy. Right? James Cook is going to be around. He just got an extension. He's going to be around. Eventually, they will get better at the wide receiver position. Eventually. Which helps them. And also, too, their defense lost a step here or there, but they dealt with a lot of injuries defensively. So a lot of their issues defensively was more about the injuries and not having the depth. Losing to Ed Oliver was a massive loss during the season that no one talks about. So if he says he's still healthy, add some more pieces, I like that. And you only got to really compete against one team. New England. Miami got to try to figure things out. We don't know who their quarterback going to be. The Jets don't have a quarterback, right? So you got a shot against those 2 teams. And with Baltimore, you just mentioned Mike McCarthy. He's underrated, right? He's underrated. Yeah. Cincinnati, they're going to score points. And Cincinnati's not afraid of Baltimore. And Cleveland's going to do a Cleveland thing, right? That's the best way I can put it. So that's why I side with that. I go with that.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl, Seahawks or Patriots, and why?
So my initial prediction, and I did my prediction, Nick, when the playoffs were set.
Oh, okay.
I had this same matchup.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have set it up that way otherwise.
I had this same matchup, and people heckled me.
Hey, man, I had to set this up early. You know who I had? The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers.
People heckled me then. But then I said, this is going to be the Super Bowl. I gave my why. It's here now. And at that time, I picked the Patriots to win. So I feel like it would be contradicting if I went the opposite direction. Even though I'm loving how Seattle's playing, I'm taking the New England Patriots to win 23-20.
How is it going to happen?
Drake May is going to be the best quarterback on the football field.
MVP of the game.
He's going to be MVP.
Give me a player that you think will exceed expectations on Super Bowl Sunday, not named Drake May.
You know, I'm going to take one.
This is a betting question disguised as a regular question.
Okay, so this is a betting question. They got to be an offensive guy. I'm going to go Hunter Henry.
Ooh, why?
Hunter Henry has quietly been a major factor in their success. And I think in the red zone, when you look at Stephon Diggs doing what he's done, right? Hunter Henry, with the experience that he's had in the league, I think he's going to have a huge say-so in their success. And I'll do one up on you. I know betting-wise, I went offensive in terms of offensive props.
Give me a defense.
But I'm going to take one that my guy Pat Peterson shared with me yesterday was Jones from the Patriots, the nickelback.
Okay.
He said,
Marcus Jones, yeah.
Marcus Jones.
Who's the kick returner also, yeah.
The punt returner. And the thing that Pat mentioned with me, which makes so much sense, is that he has the ability to impact all 4 downs. Nickel, defensively, and then as a returner on punt return.
Is this an MVP conversation we're having right now?
I mean, he has to have a massive game.
It needs probably a return touchdown, maybe a pick six.
Yes, and a few PBUs, third down stop, something like that. But Jones, when you look at his ability to impact the game and the team's element, I think could be massive.
What'd you think of Bill Belichick not making the Hall of Fame?
Wow. This is what I said, Nick. And for Belichick to not make the Hall of Fame, whatever happened, well, not whatever, because we kind of know, but what happened during that Spygate situation more so than Deflategate, which came after Spygate.
And Deflategate, I think, is more like a Brady thing than a Belichick thing.
Had to have been egregious to the utmost. Because remember, Nick, they destroyed the evidence. In what area of law or determining who's right or who's wrong is the evidence destroyed? And now, fast forward to where we are current date, 2026, it basically came out that that had something to do with him not being the first ballot. That means it was overly egregious, and it also meant the reason why the evidence was destroyed because it could never get out. Because now the entire league, I wouldn't say would be tarnished, but now you look at it differently, and you also look at the entire infrastructure there in New England differently as well.
So you don't have a problem with him. I don't want to put words in your mouth. It sounds like you don't have a problem with him waiting a year.
I do have a problem, but I'm still trying to figure out the why.
You know what? So we had
so my statement just then was more about the why. I was throwing an assumption out to the why. I have a problem, but I need for you guys, which we probably would never get, to tell all of us in depth why.
So what's so funny about this? So we've done so many interviews this week with, and you're a great player, right? Hall of Fame players, great players, Super Bowl champions. To a man, they all say that the voters need to explain themselves.
Yes.
And I've got to say, this is why I voted.
Yes. Yes. Tell me why. Because like I said, they destroyed the evidence. So whatever it was, it would have turned. Think about this. They didn't destroy the evidence with the Epstein files.
I don't know if we want to go down this.
I know we don't, but I'm just saying.
Do you is any part of this because you guys could never beat the Patriots with the Pittsburgh Steelers, or no?
We beat them.
In the regular,
what are we talking about? But to your point. I mean, no, I just want to know. Because it makes no sense.
Scott Riley's with his Bruce. Sounds like B-Mac's a little anticipated because the Steelers can never beat the Patriots.
But keep it real, though. Keep it real. We need to know why he is not a first ballot. And they flirted around about the Spygate and the Deflategate, but go more in depth. Like, what was it that bad that you're keeping now arguably the greatest coach ever? Not to mention Robert Kraft been waiting for however long. Hopefully he gets in before he passed, right? I'm just saying.
I would say so, yeah.
He's the most successful owner.
Yeah, and now back in another Super Bowl without Bill and Brady.
And they win again.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm talking about. Like, now if you're Tom Brady, because you got to be tied to them just like they're tied to each other, and Kraft and Belichick. What happens if Tom is not a first ballot? Then we know it was some real spooky stuff going on up there.
What percent body fat are you?
Right now? Heck, I don't know. Maybe 15, 16, I think.
There's no what, do you eat any carbohydrates? You look unbelievable.
Listen,
man.
Scott Riley is to my left. He's a guy in Stanford when we watch late games and stuff like that. I'm the cookie guy. I bring the cookies. I'm like the plug for the cookies.
You know what? So it's a true story. You know this. Pete Prisco is one of my best friends.
Yes.
Pete,
he has a spray tan, by the way. If you see him, he got a spray tan. Don't tell him I told you.
That's a real tan, right?
That's a spray tan.
No, it's not. Is it?
It got to be a spray tan. He cannot get that. He can't get that kind of tan naturally.
He's like Trump. He's orange. I have heard through the grapevine, B-Mac. I'm not lying. He's orange. It's true. I have heard through the grapevine that Pete Prisco is a suspect sentence. Pete Prisco likes your cookies.
He did. And I felt some type of way. So what happened was, because I like to order cookies. I'm a great guy. I order you guys some cookies too to the studio if you catch me on the right night.
Honestly, man, I got it's not great.
Hey, so what happened was,
pass on the cookies.
I was like, I'm getting cookies for everyone. And I checked my Uber joint, right? And I saw the address, but I didn't pay attention because I was just in Fort Lauderdale. The studio's there. So I hit the cookies. These cookies are pretty expensive, like $60. But I'm like, man, this is my guy.
$60 is expensive. This chain's like $6,000.
I got it from Walgreens. I got it from Walgreens.
Which one on Fifth Avenue?
Yeah, they got a back room. You got to knock 3 times.
So you sent the cookies.
Yeah,
for an order.
so now I'm looking at. I'm like, why the cookies ain't get here? So then my Uber delivery guy, he's only he only speaks Spanish.
Okay.
My Spanish a little bit, but I ain't really like that. So I'm trying to figure out, hey man, what my cookies? He said they're at the front desk. I said, no, they ain't. So I walked down. The attendant at the front desk told me ain't nobody delivered the cookies. I thought the attendant took my cookies.
Oh.
So now I'm ready to buck at him. Hey, man, what my cookies? I want my cookies.
Yeah, you want
hey, man, we nobody rolling the cookies. So then I look, they in freaking Fort Lauderdale.
That's amazing.
So they eat my cookies on set.
Yeah.
And you know, Pete, he always want free stuff, so he had a ball with my cookies.
True or false? Final question on the interview. True or false?
What?
Pete Prisco loves Bryant McFadden's cookies.
I mean, why you gotta word it like that? Though?
Because it's funny.
He loves the cookies that I ordered by mistake.
Okay, hold on.
Do you want some cookies, Nick?
Yes, I do. Does Pete Prisco love Bryant McFadden's cookies? Yes or no?
He loves the cookies that I ordered by mistake. And Peter's my guy, but he has a spray tan. He came to San Francisco with a spray tan.
B-Mac, you're the best, man.
My guy, always.
CBS Sports HQ. Gotta watch him on
Hold
CBS
on.
Sports HQ.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you a Mets fan?
No, Yankees fan. You knew that, no?
No, I'm sorry, Scott. Question for you. Who wins a championship first? Yankees or the Giants?
Ooh. Giants.
With that, no, we need to drop the mic. Somebody need to check your temperature.
I think the Mets are going to win before the Yankees. And I'm going to tell you why. Are you a Yankees fan? I don't know.
No. I'm just a sports guy.
The problem with the Yankees is as long as Aaron Boone is the manager and Brian Cashman's the GM, this is like the expiration date is expired. And they keep bringing them back. They're Supreme Court justices, job until death. I feel like the Yankees will never win until they make those moves.
Wow, so you're picking the Giants to win a championship before the Yankees.
I will take any team over the Yankees right now until they fire the GM and the manager.
Not the Jets?
Not the Jets.
I'm sorry, Jets. Dang, I didn't want to do the Jets like that. They caught too many strays already.
B-Mac, you're the best.
Oh, my God. Always.
Bryant McFadden here on You Better You Bet. Check him out on CBS Sports HQ. We're back on Westwood One Sports on the other side. We do a lot of interviews every week, Radio Row at the Super Bowl. One of my favorites, this is the third year in a row we've had him on the show here on Westwood One Sports. Legendary NFL pass rusher, Shawne Merriman here on You Better You Bet. What's going on, my friend?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I've asked you this question. First question, each of the first 2 years we had you on. Same one coming up now. How does it feel to know that every time you walk into a room, you can kick everybody's ass?
I try not to think about it that way because there's one person in there probably can kick my ass. But I would like to feel that way. Yeah.
In this room right now, have you seen anyone that you're like, this might not go great for me?
Yeah, not in this section over here. Maybe I didn't see the other side. I didn't see the other side of the room.
There are a lot of football players around here, so we can check that out. So let's talk about Lights Out Extreme Fighting. So you came on with us 2 years ago at the Super Bowl, and you were, I believe, kind of just getting it off the ground, right? This was just something that was at least relatively new. Now you do a deal with ESPN Latin America. So I talk to you once a year, right? And just to see how far this has come in a couple of years, I'm guessing that you're proud. This is really awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's obviously, MMA has become such a big global phenomenon because of UFC and what they've done. And with them going over to Paramount, we're now on ESPN Latin America, which is a big deal for us. And we're still on UFC Fight Pass and football and some other. We got a lot of distribution here in the States, but when you get outside the States, it's two things: it's combat sports, it's soccer, and so they love their fighting. That's
awesome, man. You ever stop to think man, I did this and this is really awesome?
I need to do it more. I have people around me tell me, say, Shawne, you need to, kind of slow down. This is a big deal. Because once we announced that partnership, I woke up the next day like, okay, how can we get in Australia?
No, I love it.
Right?
But that's the attitude you have to have,
right? I'm trying to do better at that.
Do you feel like you have a hard time turning it off?
Yeah, big time. Probably one of my biggest problems because I like to go, but I'm also I'm a big supporter of taking a break and resetting, like anchoring, balancing out.
How do you do that?
For me, it's the gym. So, I'm in the gym just about 4 or 5 days a week at 6 a.m. And then I'll go, another day and do my boxing, MMA, or whatever I'm doing. So I'll do that first. That's how I start. I don't call me, right? Don't emails. I don't do anything. I go work out, get anchored first, and then I handle everything else.
We'll talk some football.
Let's do it.
All right. So pretty good with the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
What did you make of your old quarterback coming back to play this year for the Indianapolis Colts? Gentleman by the name of Philip Rivers.
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised, and I think that you have to know Philip Rivers in order to understand that this is just a feel type of thing, right? Because people don't know that he could have came back a couple years ago when the San Francisco 49ers quarterbacks all went down.
And they lost that NFC Championship game to the Eagles. Brock gets hurt at the beginning of that game. And if they had gotten there, Kyle Shanahan has said that he was going to call Philip Rivers, to your point.
Yeah, 100%. And it was just a right time for him. And, in fact, me at Antonio Gates' Hall of Fame induction back in last August, we were all together. Me, Philip Rivers, LT, and Gates, and Drew Brees. We're kind of talking in the circle. And Phil was just talking like same animated hands and passionate. And he was talking about the present tense. Like he wasn't talking about what we did, how the games were 10, 15 years ago when we played, and it wasn't that conversation at all. It was more of him talking about today's game, and it was pretty fascinating to see. Now I think back on it, the conversation of him playing, he was never out the game. Another
team that you played for, the Buffalo Bills. I got to be honest with you. So Phil comes back to play for Indianapolis. Who doesn't love that? It's awesome. It's a great story. It was really fun to watch. When the news came down that he interviewed to be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, I'm not killing Phil. If I were him, I would do the same thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking, are the Bills a serious organization? I'm not saying he wouldn't be good, but he's never done it before, right? When you saw that, he going to be a head coach in the NFL? What was your opinion on him interviewing?
Yeah, he should. I think the biggest issue that anybody would have is that he didn't get a coordinator job first and work his way up. Phil got two things, and the reason why he was able to come back and play, because Phil's never been the fastest, never been the strongest, never been big on athleticism. It was his ability to prepare and his competitiveness. That's what made Philip Rivers. And so with his knowledge of the game and him being able to get guys to play from, look at the sidelines when he came back. Like, the sideline was going crazy when he threw a pass. The sideline was going crazy when he completed, a deep ball or this. Like, they were going, because Philip does that for you. Like, he makes you want to play. And you know what that sounds like to me? A great head coach. When you have a coach.
You think he'll be a head coach?
100%.
No question.
I think that, for one, with his son Gunnar, who's one of the best high school quarterbacks in the country, I think it's going to be a point where it's going to be real consideration. But with him and his family is first. I think that when Gunnar goes to college or, whatever happens, he'll put his hat back in for a head coaching job.
Is Philip Rivers a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. By every stretch of the way. And I know we're all of us, we're caught up on rings. Thanks.
And I'm a Giants guy, so I'll tell you Eli Manning should be in also.
I think so too. And, it's almost like, because something was posted the other day, Eli was a great quarterback. He 2 Super Bowls, and I played against him, and so I know. I've seen him. So is Philip Rivers, right? And I think that we all get caught up on these rings, but Super Bowl rings and championships are a team accolade. The Hall of Fame is an individual accolade, and individually, Philip has the stats and numbers to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, if you want to throw in rings and put somebody with more rings ahead of him, then I can understand. But no matter how you look at it, he's still a Hall of Famer.
Should Bill Belichick have gone on the first ballot?
That should have been criminal. That's so bad. That's so bad. And and I had the same energy with Terrell Owens.
And to me, I'm curious if you agree with this because you played, right? To me, it's more egregious for T.O. because he played.
Right.
We all watched him like you're playing at the same time. He is an obvious first ballot Hall of Famer that had to wait until year 3, not even year 2.
Right. Well, you take T.O., you take my former teammate Antonio Gates. An
obvious first ballot Hall of Famer.
Obvious first ballot Hall of Fame, and then Bill Belichick, who in my opinion is the greatest coach of all time. Maybe Bill Walsh. If you want to throw Bill Walsh up there, but in my opinion, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. So what's the requirements now? That's what I've been trying to understand and figure out this whole time. If he can't get in no first ballot, what are the requirements? Now the whole system is thrown off because the best coach of all time, greatest coach of all time, is not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
You bet on this Friday. Shawne Merriman, my guest, Westwood One Sports, Nick Costos, presented by BetMGM. Can we play a game of what if?
Let's do it.
Well, less like what if and more do you agree with my opinion?
Okay.
Okay. I am on record saying, and I've said this for almost 20 years now, God, if Phillip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson are healthy for the 2007 AFC Championship game, the then San Diego Chargers beat the undefeated New England Patriots and play for a Super Bowl championship. Yes or no?
Yes.
No question, right?
Yes, no question.
One ever talks about this. You guys settled for 4 field goals in that game with the quarterback on a torn ACL and with LaDainian Tomlinson, maybe the best running back of all time, hurt.
And I was hurt. I mean, Antonio Gates was hurt. I mean, there's a lot of people that no one knows about. I mean, we were all like crawling into that game. And so I'm not using it as an excuse. I know the Patriots fans going to be out there like, oh, yeah, you guys.
I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I felt it in the moment. Like you guys lost, like I bet you guys you covered. It was 9.5. You lost 21-12 on 4 Nate Kading field goals. I felt in the moment like the Chargers might be better than the Patriots. And as a Giants fan, I'm thinking the Giants can definitely beat the Patriots. Chargers almost beat them. Absolutely. Like they're not unbeatable. Someone can take them down.
No, absolutely. And it's I'll let you say that, because if I say that, it's going to become a cause.
Do you want to say it?
Well, you said it for me. I'm just agreeing with what you said.
Well, you can say it also if you'd like. It will help me in my show if you want to say it. You can.
No, we would have won. We would have won. But again, we had a 4 or 5 year period with the Chargers where I felt that we were the most dominant team in the 2000s.
The 06, and I can't believe Marty Schottenheimer got fired after that season in 06 with like the Marlin. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh God.
The Marlin interception and Troy Brown.
It's too early for this.
You guys were the best team that year in 06.
Yeah. I think, look, when they talk about the best teams of that era, right, they obviously going to talk about the undefeated Patriots and all that, but
some of the Colts teams.
Some of the Colts teams, right, with Peyton. In 06, I think we're the best team of the decade. I believe we had the best team of the decade, but we didn't have the rings to prove it. We didn't have the rings to prove it.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that for you guys.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you would have beaten the Colts in that championship
100%.
game. And then, you guys against Rex Grossman and the Bears in the Super Bowl. All right. One question about the Bills. Are you surprised they fired Sean McDermott?
Yes.
Bad move?
I think that Coach McDermott, he built a culture there. He built a culture there. He was a great guy in the community, somebody who was well respected, and that turned that franchise around. And that's hard to do and stay in that position for as long. But he'll be just fine. He'll be just fine. We just got to see what's going to happen with Brady, moving up.
I want to ask you a really horrible question. If you were the GM of a team and you could hire one head coach to coach your team, would it be Phillip Rivers or Sean McDermott?
Wow. I'm going to go Phil. There's nothing against Shawne Merriman. I mean, he's proven.
Yeah.
But I would throw my hat into giving somebody an opportunity who we haven't seen just yet.
Final question: who's going to win the Super Bowl, Seahawks or Patriots?
I'm taking the Seahawks. Seahawks by 10.
Because you hate the Patriots?
No. Look, everybody. You know how many times I've been called a Patriots hater since I've been here, and I'm like, I'm breaking down the game just like everybody else. But I don't want to take anything away from Mike Vrabel, man. Like what he's done has been impressive, and I think Drake May's going to be good for a long time. They'll be back. But I think Seattle has too much. They got too many tools on offense, defense, special teams. They got too many opportunities to put up points.
One more time, tell the audience about Lights Out Extreme Fighting and the new deal with ESPN Latin America.
Lights Out Extreme Fighting just had a partnership with ESPN Latin America, and then we're on Fubo and UFC Fight Pass. You can check us out on all these platforms.
Soon to come to Australia.
I know. Working on it.
I got to tell you, seeing you every year at the Super Bowl, I have no doubt that you're going to keep crushing it, my man. I mean that.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Shawne Merriman joining us here on the show. More show on the other side. I think now, I've always thought it's cool when you've done work with your son.
Right.
My daughter, my first child, will be 2 in May. And now that I have a child, I think stuff like this gets put into greater perspective for me, where I don't even think if you're a parent, you can measure the coolness of something like that, which you're able to do with your son. I guess, like, how cool is it that you get to work with your son? Tell us about it.
It is. You know, we worked together at the end of our time at ESPN. Well, my time, I left there first. Myself, Trey Wingo, and my son Mike did the morning show after Greeny and I. So I worked with him then, and then worked with him a couple of times, including now. I have to make sure I don't take it for granted, right? Because it just doesn't happen often when you get to work with one of your kids. It's fantastic. I mean, I treat him like a professional. He's smart. He's prepared. But every now and then I have to remember when the mic goes on, it's my kid. I would like him to defer to me and bend the knee to me a little more and respect me a little more. But you know what? I'll take what I can get.
What you said at the end is really interesting, right? Because I was going to follow and say, does it present any challenges being on the air with your son? Or like when you're planning a show, if you disagree on something where, you know, whether you're working with Mike Greenberg or Trey Wingo or someone else, maybe that conversation goes a little differently than with your son. Like, does it present any, and I'm sure you'll say that you'll take the issues for what you're able to do. Does it present any unique issues working with your kid?
Oh, I mean, we disagree off the mic. We disagree on the mic. It's fine. You know, one thing, and you know, it started with Greeny and I, is you never take it off the show. You know, you can disagree about something on the show, sports related, right? But you don't take it off the show. You don't carry it with you. And I didn't carry it with Greeny. I didn't carry it with Trey. I certainly don't carry it with my son. You know, the show's the show where you have your opinion and opinions differ.
Does he carry it after the show for you or no?
Probably a little more than I do. Yeah. You know, he hasn't, you know, hasn't aged yet like I have to where age brings a little more wisdom.
Does your wife, his mom, ever give you crap for how it goes at all? Because I'm guessing she will take his side.
Always his side. Always. Absolutely. Without 100%.
Can you tell us a story about that? I think this dynamic is very funny.
Oh, I mean, it's just, no particular story, just anything we may disagree about. After the show, my wife will be like, oh, I agree with Mike. I agree with what he said on it. I'm like, what the hell, you know? And she's like, well, you know, he presented it better than you did, which he can do. He's a smart kid.
And I'll just say that anyone that has watched your son, he's obviously very talented, obviously smart, obviously knows the material. I've had him on the show before. He does a great job. Let's talk about, and look, my show is on Westwood One Sports. You were nice enough to come on during the NFL postseason with us when you were calling, I believe it was the Bills-Broncos game during the divisional round. It was you and Ryan Radke on the call of that game. What is your football season like from a travel perspective?
I pray every time that once the weather starts turning, I don't get caught in a weather delay. I always hope to travel close, right? Not have to go, because I most of the football season, I'm in Arizona. So if I'm going to Miami or New England, not that I don't like those places, just traveling there, because it's not about the game, it's about me, right?
I certainly think that about myself.
The closer the travel, the happier I am. The less connections I have, the happier I am. The less I'm standing in snow or bad weather, the happier I am.
You love calling games on the radio?
Love it. I love calling games, TV, radio, but radio is way more relaxed. I don't have to put a coat and tie on. I don't have to sit in hours and hours of meetings. I can watch tape at my leisure. I talk to the coaches on the field before the game, get all the info I need, watch my own tape. So I love it.
One thing I want to follow up with you on, and it turned out that it went the other way from which was, and that's not the reason for this, but you know, I asked you prior to the Bills-Broncos game, if the Bills lose today, do you think they'll move on from Shawne McDermott? And you said you didn't think so. And to be fair, I think most people agreed with you. Now, obviously, it went the other way. They fired him. They promote Joe Brady to head coach. Are you surprised by how that went down in the aftermath with the Buffalo Bills?
I guess I shouldn't be, not this year, with Mike Tomlin stepping away after 19 years, John Harbaugh getting fired after 18 years, Shawne McDermott getting fired. I guess I shouldn't be, but I am, because he takes you to a certain level. Who's to say the next guy in this case, Joe Brady, is going to take you farther? But I've seen it before. My brother Bob's coach in Cleveland for a bit was the late, great Marty Schottenheimer. And Marty took him to a couple of AFC title games and lost, and they fired Marty. It's like
Marty got fired after going 14-2 with the Chargers, and they lost to the Patriots in 06.
What are we doing here? So you're going to try and find somebody who can take to the next level, but that's what Andy Reid got fired in Philly. They went to 5 NFC title games, 1 Super Bowl, and lost, and they fired him. Now, a couple of coaches later, they did get to the Super Bowl a couple of times and won. But I'm always somewhat amazed. Again, they didn't pull the trigger quickly, especially for John Harbaugh, and even McDermott had a number of years, but it's still to think, we're going to find somebody better. And by the way, in Buffalo, it's a first-time head coach, right? In Joe Brady. Yeah.
Yep. You bet here on this Thursday, actually Wednesday. Westwood One Sports, Mike Golic Sr. here with me, Nick Costos, for a couple more minutes. Let's talk about the Super Bowl, Patriots and Seahawks. Who do you like and why?
I like Seattle. Maybe it's the old defensive player in me. I think their defense is just smothering at all levels, linebackers, DBs. I love the way they play. I love their coverage, their tight coverage on receivers. I'd be interested to see how they're going to play Stephon Diggs, quite honestly. I think New England plays a clean game. They like to do the Belichickian way of waiting for the other team to make a mistake. Now you hope Sam Darnold doesn't rear the interception head that he had 14 during the regular season, but Drake May has turned the ball over in the postseason. I just think overall, offensively, Seattle will be good enough. Defensively, they're great.
You called the AFC Championship game for Westwood One. I'll give you my opinion. You can tell me if you think it's dumb, Pat. I won't be offended at all. So New England wins that game. I walked away from that game thinking, and I can be wrong about this, I'm not presenting it as fact. If Bo Nix had played, I think the Broncos would have won. And I don't even mean that as I don't care at all. It's just my opinion. I don't know, and it's not their fault, right? It's not a strike against them. Pretty easy path to get there, easy schedule. Again, like you beat who's on your schedule, give them credit. I was not really that impressed with the Patriots in that game, and I'm not trying to present myself as like the football overlord, just a guy with an opinion who gets paid to talk about it on the national radio and TV. Do you share that opinion? Were you that impressed with New England in that game?
The second half you have to take with a grain of salt because both offenses were muted in the second half with the snow. It was brutal. And you have to understand that New England played against great defenses in the playoffs, right? I mean, Houston, great defense. Denver, great defense.
The Chargers, no slouch either.
Yeah. So they did, and now they're going to play against, obviously, another great defense. I don't know if I can say if Bo Nix, because I don't know how Bo would have played in that snow. Listen, Drake May helped win that game with his legs. Field goal kickers missed field goals. 1 made, 4 missed. So you could have put your field goal kicker in a position to make a field goal. But luckily for New England, they made their field goal at the beginning of the third quarter before really the bad weather really hit. So I don't know if I agree if Bo Nix played, they would have won because I don't know how he would have played in that snowstorm.
We'll talk about what you've got going on with Stello in a second. But for the audience here, especially because we're on Westwood One, tell our audience here, it's going to be awesome. You and your son doing pregame for Westwood One ahead of the Super Bowl. Tell us about it.
2 hours, I think 11 to 1 local time. Game starts at 3, right? So 11 to 1 local time. We will be at the NFL tailgate and in the parking lot, the big tailgate the NFL throws. We'll be out there doing a 2-hour show. I have all kind of guest players. Kevin Harlan, before he goes up into the booth to call the game, is going to stop by. So Mike and I get to talk football for 2 more hours, so we're pretty stoked.
Tell us what you've got going on with our friends at Stello.
So Stello is a glucose biosensor.
I got some right here.
I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 20 years ago, and back then you kind of ate with a question mark, pricked your finger for a blood test to see what your numbers were, and just kind of flew by the seat of your pants. Now with this glucose biosensor, wear on my arm, Stello has an app. It reacts real time to what I eat, gives me my numbers of how well I sleep, how much I work out, what I eat. They're coming out with a smart food logging app that will be coming out soon where you actually take a picture of the food you want to eat, and it gives you all the info, carbs, sugar, protein.
I need this now. Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of Stello. You don't have to have type 2 diabetes to wear it. You can be type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, or just as a wellness thing, and it's over the counter. You don't need a prescription for it, and it gives you real-time
My wife
readings.
is going to want this when I tell her about it.
Very, very cool. And it keeps me, someone who does have type 2 diabetes, keeps me in my range.
You know what else is cool? You. No, I always love having you on the show. I sincerely appreciate it. And I love that you get to work with your kid. I think that's
very
awesome.
cool. Hopefully you'll still be doing it when your daughter's
Right?
old enough to do it.
I hope so too. Mike Golic Sr. joining us on the show. Have a great call coming up on Sunday with Mike Golic Jr. We'll catch up with you down the line. Better You Bet rolls on Thursday here from Radio Row, San Francisco, California. I have Dennis Pitta and Todd Heap with me. I know it's Wednesday. We're taping this on Wednesday. We'll play on Thursday. Great to have you guys here, former tight ends primarily of the Baltimore Ravens. Nick Costos, Westwood One Sports. What's going on, guys? How are we?
Doing Good to see you, Nick. Thanks for having us.
So, when Mark Andrews retires, does he join like the retired Ravens white tight ends category here?
Well, we just saw Ben Watson earlier. You know, we've got through Baltimore tight ends. We've got a good. We're Shannon Sharp. We need him to roll with us. You know, we got a few guys that can roll with us. So
honestly, a pretty sick lineage of I'm not joking here, of Ravens tight ends. That's pretty. Isaiah Likely's awesome. You guys got a lot of really good ones.
There's been a lot of good ones. I mean, when your GM was, Ozzie for however many years, Hall of Fame tight end, I think he knows what to look for in the position. So, I mean, we're both really blessed to have played for that organization. I mean, you see around the league, and nobody knows this better than Sam Darnold, who's playing in the Super Bowl, is not every organization is the same. And, he's fortunately in a great spot now. But, man, I mean, to have to take your lumps in organizations like the Jets. I know you guys are in New York. You're a Giants fan,
I'm
though,
a Giants
right?
fan. It's cool, yeah.
So we can slander the Jets name a little bit.
They deserve to be slandered.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, good.
Not a big deal. So my team now has John Harbaugh. I'm a Giants fan as my head coach. When the news came down that the Ravens fired John Harbaugh, what was the reaction? Todd, first to you.
Well, it wasn't like he's been there for 18 years and he's done a great job for that long. But in Baltimore, there's some expectations, and they want to win, and they want to win every year. And so he did a lot of winning there. Ravens have done a lot of winning over the years, but I think Steve Bisciotti's a guy, he wants to win Super Bowls. And so that's the way he's built the program. He's done a great job of setting a culture of, I pick the guys, we believe in the guys, we're loyal to them to a fault, and I don't think it was a fault that he was loyal to Harbaugh or any number of guys that we've had in the organization, but I think that's how you build great organizations is you bring in great people, let them do their job, and give them a leash to be able to do that.
What did you think when you saw it?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked, to be honest. I know there was rumblings about it all year, and, the Ravens obviously underperformed given their expectations going into the year. But, I mean, so much of that was injuries. You didn't have Lamar Jackson for a large stretch of that season when you started 1-5. I did not think the Ravens, even with all the talk, would actually make the move. Because John Harbaugh's a staple in Baltimore, or has been for the last 18 years, and he has had so much success. Obviously won the Super Bowl in 2012, and he's been a great head coach and a great culture setter for that team. And the Ravens are just one of those organizations that don't make changes very often. I mean, the Steelers are right there, and both those organizations, moved on from their head coaches. And so it was surprising in that respect. I think everything, though, runs its course. And even, having great 18 years there in Baltimore, I think it was probably time for a new adventure for John and a change for Baltimore. Just kind of spark things because they kind of hit this plateau where they were always great in the regular season and they would make the postseason. They just couldn't quite get it done for whatever reason. And, not saying that was John Harbaugh's fault, but I think some kind of a change needed to be made to kind of spark the thing.
Are you guys friends outside of this?
No, we don't like each other at all.
I have to ask the question.
Well, I was only with Dennis for 1 year. His rookie year was my last year in Baltimore, so I pretty much taught him everything he knew. Gave him
you're a stud, dude. You guys were
You're
both
a
stud. You were a
Todd.
stud, man.
Yeah, no, we've been good friends for a long time. So,
are you pissed that he got the Super Bowl ring and you had left Baltimore and they won a couple years later? And I want you to be very honest.
I am nothing but happy for all of Dennis's success and everybody's
for sure.
I would be pissed. So, Todd, you had an amazing career, right? I'm not just saying that. So you come in 0-1 after the Ravens beat the piss out of my Giants in Super Bowl 35. You leave, and then they go to the title game in 11, and they win the Super Bowl in 2012. What the hell happened?
Well, Joe Flacco happened. I mean, he got his first 3 years. Honestly, his first week he was on the team, I could see all the promise in him, and it was just a matter of unleashing that. I think in that fifth year, they really unleashed that. Joe had that great run toward the end of the season and through the playoffs. It was, I mean, unrivaled. So it was pretty fun to watch. Anytime you have a bunch of buddies on a team and they're all having success, I mean, that's what it's all about. The things you miss in football when you leave is you miss the competition and you miss the locker room. You miss the camaraderie of your teammates. And so that camaraderie never goes away.
Can I hit you with a deep cut quickly?
Okay, what is it?
All right. So I remember, I'm a lifelong, I'm an NFL super fan. You guys are probably like, okay, buddy. But I love this stuff, right? So the 2000 Ravens may be considered to be the second best defense of all time. Destroy my favorite team in Super Bowl 35. I remember talking with my dad about it that offseason when Coach Billick and the Ravens make the decision to move on from Trent Dilfer, who had won the Super Bowl. In comes Elvis Gerback for your rookie year. Now, you guys make the playoffs, but don't win the Super Bowl again, obviously, until Dennis is there and you had left in 2012. What was that year like? Because from afar, it felt like almost like the team didn't get over it to a degree, Trent not being there. But I'm watching from afar. What was that like?
They brought in Elvis Gerback the next year, and Trent obviously left. And I mean, obviously, I didn't know the dynamic the year before, but I know Trent was very well respected and a great leader in the locker room. They went, handful of games without scoring a lot of points and relied on Matt Stover, the kicker, to.
Tony Banks started a lot of those games. Trent Dilfer was not the starting quarterback to begin that year.
That year, I mean, in 10 years in Baltimore, I think I played with 9 or 10 different starting quarterbacks. And so there was not a lot of staples in there. It was anywhere from Kyle Bowler to Steve McNair, and then all finished with Joe Flacco. But there was
Stoney Case in there, I think, for a game or two.
There was a lot of guys in the mix there, and so it was just we were never able to get a quarterback to be that staple until Joe.
Let's talk about your guys' run to Super Bowl 47. It's a true story. I'm going to make it about myself for a second. So I've been known to place a bet or two. I bet on you guys every single playoff game, and when I was tweeting about it at the time, I'm trying to break into media, right? I was a producer. My hashtag was Wacko for Flacco. So I had you guys in the divisional round in Denver, the Raheem Moore game with Jacoby Jones. I felt like in 11, I watched that game. I told you off air. I can tell the story at John Madden's house. I felt like you guys were the better team in 11 than New England. And that Joe outplayed Brady in both of those games. So in 12, I was like, they're definitely going to win this game. And then you guys were dogs in the Super Bowl to the Niners. I didn't get that. And you guys ended up winning there as well. Take us through that run to that Super Bowl championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because in 2011, I think we were a better team overall. So I would agree with that assessment. But, we go to New England, which is never an easy place to play.
You agree with me, by the way? You guys were the better team in 11. When you guys lost that game.
I would agree. I think, we had opportunities at the end of that game to win it, obviously, to get the go-ahead touchdown. We ended up settling for a field goal, which we missed, to force it to overtime.
Billy Cundiff.
That's, people don't think too fondly of Billy, unfortunately. Billy's a good guy, but, he's not spoken of very fondly in Baltimore, even to this day. But, I remember gathering in the locker room around Ray Lewis in 2011, right after we won or lost that game. And he said something to the effect of, we're going to do everything we possibly can to get back into this situation again and see what happens. Don't hang your head. Let this motivate you. We're going to be back here. And sure enough, the very next year we were.
In Foxborough again.
In Foxborough, same exact scenario with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. We had to get through Brady in New England. And
you beat the piss out of them.
Yeah,
we
beat them pretty good. I think the lure of New England and Brady, maybe caught up to us the first time, but the second time around, we knew we were better than that team. And we went out and we played well. We finally played to our potential and got it done. And so, but that was not. I'm shocked you bet on all of those games because that was not an easy road to the Super Bowl. We had to go to Denver in the second round against Peyton Manning and a team
Your
that
money
in
wasn't
week
safe
one,
in that game, was it?
You were 8.5-point dogs, and like I'll never forget. Like, and forgive me,
we were 8.5-point dogs in that game.
Were you on the field for the Jacoby touchdown?
Yeah. I was the one pulling coverage away from Jacoby.
Is it possible? And like
I was getting quadruple covered so Jacoby could get open.
I don't know, Raheem. I don't mean, like, is it? You guys play a lot of football. Is that the worst angle ever taken by anyone doing anything in the history of life? Raheem Moore trying to like tackle or cover Jacoby Jones.
It was so shocking in that moment because I remember we were just running 4 verticals, all go routes. I'm in the seam. Jacoby's right to my right. And so I'm running up the seam. I'm like, nobody's open. So I actually break my route off early and break out towards Jacoby's
Are you the
side.
reason why the Ravens won the Super Bowl? It sounds like it.
That's basically what I'm saying. No. But I break out to the right. I'm just trying to get open at that point because Joe, you kind of have that internal clock in your head like, okay, he's got to get rid of the ball. I'm not open. I got to find a way to get open. So I break my route off. Jacoby stops running. He stays on the go, but he stops running. He kind of throttles down. Has somehow a clean pocket right in front of him and is able to kind of step up on the run and just throws the ball out to Jacoby. And Jacoby's behind the corner. The corner kind of stopped too. And then Raheem Moore just takes the worst angle you've ever seen because all he has to do is make a tackle, even if we complete that ball.
You're right.
Because there's like under 30 seconds, we have no timeouts.
Yeah.
So if he just tackles him in bounds, we maybe get off a play or two more, and that's it.
Yeah.
But to let that go for a touchdown in that situation, I mean, it shocked all of us. And then obviously it forced overtime. We still had to win in overtime, but
went to double overtime, right?
Did it go to double? I'm
pretty sure it went to double overtime. Yeah, the game went on
you
forever.
as a veteran were probably nervous as all get out.
Well, I mean, and the reason why, and then we'll talk about Cadix cleats in 1 second, guys. The reason why I liked you guys in 12 is because in 11, I walked away watching that AFC Championship game thinking, not only were the Ravens the better team, but Joe Flacco outplayed, not saying Joe's better than Tom, Joe Flacco outplayed Tom Brady. And if that happened in an AFC Championship game and they get back to the mix again, this is the team that's going to win the next year. That's why I thought so.
January Joe, like, Joe's regular season, you just put his stats up in the regular season. They're good. They're fine. But Joe,
he's like Eli.
Yeah, Joe in the postseason was a different animal.
Generational runs. Yeah.
Joe, like the moment was never big for Joe, like too big. And he just, okay, I'm going against Tom Brady. Great. I'm better than Tom Brady. That was always his mindset.
They're going to kill me. So we're going to do the promotion right now.
All right.
Now I'm not an athlete. But if I were, I would wear these because they're sick. Tell us what you're doing with our friends at Cadix Cleats.
Yeah, so as you can see here, this has smart stud technology. It's a patented technology. Ooh. So these studs on the bottom, the 4-foot of the cleat plate, they can flex, they pivot, they can spin 360 degrees. And so what it does is it changes the dynamic and the interaction the athlete has with the playing surface. There's so much made nowadays of grass versus field turf and all that kind of stuff. The issue that players have with field turf is that there isn't as much give. Grass, there's more natural give. So when I plant and I change direction, I have a little bit of give. My cleat kind of releases a little bit easier. It gets in a better position when I'm turning and changing direction. This can do that for an athlete without having to be on a natural surface. So it works great on both surfaces, but when I'm on turf and there's not as much give underneath me, because these can flex.
We see this all the time. Guys tearing ACLs on field turf,
how
right?
many
contact ACL injuries.
Top players in the NFL are
especially
out with
at
injuries.
MetLife, right, where like the Giants and Jets play. Feels like it happens constantly.
I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes with an ACL. You have Micah Parsons with an ACL. We're not saying we can avoid all of those injuries, but if we can mitigate your risk to have a non-contact injury like that, just even a little bit, it's worth it. And that's really our goal. And so there's great research behind this. We're excited to be a part of it. And it's obviously a great product. We have 40 or 50 NFL guys wearing them in games right now, even more in practice, because number one, they're comfortable. If they weren't comfortable and a great cleat to begin with, guys wouldn't care, even if they were, help them a certain degree to mitigate injuries. But couple that with the ability to now potentially save your ACL.
Yeah.
That's huge, and it's groundbreaking, and that's why we ultimately got involved, and we're excited to be a part of this project.
They're going to kill me. Dennis Pitta, Todd Heap with us
hey,
here on the show. Appreciate it, guys. Enjoyed the Super Bowl, and good luck with everything with Cadix Cleats.
We appreciate it.
You Better You Bet rolls on. San Francisco, California, Super Bowl 60. Pats and the Seahawks coming up on Sunday. Nick Costos here with you, presented by BetMGM. So Mike Silver is my guest now from The Athletic, and I said this to you off air, I'll say it on air. For a really long time, my favorite, now I grew up a Giants fan in New York. My favorite football book No Medals for Trying by Jerry Eisenberg.
Great book.
Chronicling a week of the 1989 New York Giants. That's always been my favorite football book until I read The Why Is Everything by Mike Silver, which is, I will promote because and I think I've actually said this a couple times recently on the show, Mike, now you have to be a football fan, right? But if you're a football fan of any repute, you are going to love this book because it covers like the offensive revolution. I'm doing this so you don't have to. The offensive revolution of this with Mike Shanahan and then Kyle and McVay and Mike McDaniel and the LaFleurs and Saleh and Raheem Morris. I just love it, and I'm jacked to have you on the show because I love your book, man.
Oh my God, this is like, you could filibuster. First of all, this is and by the way, Nick, you are known for your impeccable taste, like industry-wide.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone knows that and that's funny, you mentioned 1989. That was my first year as a young beat writer covering the 49ers, who were in the process of defending their...
That's a pretty good year to come on the Niners beat.
Oh, believe me.
He was 14-2 Super Bowl champions.
You know, I mean, this is a true story. So somebody went back and did a story about all the people from that dynasty that ended up getting great jobs in coaching and personnel and everything all across football, but it certainly extends to media too. I was having drinks with Joe Montana, I don't know, about 10 years ago during the day, and I said, hey, you know what, dude? I rode your coattails too. I'm not ashamed to admit it. If I was covering like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a young beat writer, I don't know if I get to Sports Illustrated. Like, Joe Montana uplifted all boats, including this one. What a time to be alive.
I have a football history hot take for you.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
The greatest single-season team in the history of the National Football League is the 1989 San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
Mike Silver's opinion of that is what and why?
They are in that combo, and the first 3 games I covered, they opened with 3 on the road at Indy, Tampa, and then that epic Eagles game that was a changing of the guard game against that incredible defense. They came from behind dramatically and won all of them.
And Montana got the crap kicked out of him
Oh my
in
God!
that game.
Sacked 8 times, 6 in the first half. Mike Holmgren spread it out, which people didn't do back then. Went single back with Harry Sidney, 4 wide, and that Vet Stadium. It was a changing of the guard moment. That great defense, and Joe just brought them all the way back. And then after they got up by 3, they had like a 3rd and short at the 50, play action up top to Rice to go up 10, and it was just. All you could hear was like a couple of 49er players yelling. It was surreal. But, yeah, no, that was, I think the 84 Niners would also be in that conversation, ending with the Super Bowl at Stanford to finish 18-1 and beating Marino.
Dan Marino, yep.
But 89 was probably a more complete team if you look at with Jerry Rice.
I mean.
But, people don't remember. Like in the 80s, the 85 Bears, the 86 Giants are 2 of the greatest teams ever. Like those teams were no doubter Super Bowl champs in the middle of that Niner dynasty. By the way, with Joe Gibbs and Washington, just
winning 3 Super Bowls with 3 different starting quarterbacks.
Crazy. So, yeah, I think, when you start talking about eras and teams, one thing that's going to stand out from that era is you did have the continuity because there wasn't widespread free agency. So offensive lines stayed together and teams stayed together longer. And you just, without a salary cap, I think 89, the cap just hadn't quite come yet. So, the 49ers backup, they had Michael Carter, an all-pro nose tackle, but their backups were Fred Smerlas, who had been like a 5-time All-Pro with the Bills, and Jim Burt, who of
former
course,
Giant, who knocked Montana out in 86.
So, listen, The Why Is Everything, a story of football rivalry revolution, paperback out now with a new epilogue. It's available everywhere. One thing about that book is it is about the Shanahan-McVay crew and LaFleur and everybody else, but it really starts with Mike Shanahan as the 49er offensive coordinator with Steve Young in the, as Montana was injured, and that's kind of our jumping off point. And, I covered that very closely as a beat writer and then at SI, and so it all kind of comes full circle. And it's very high concept. These people have changed football, but don't worry. There's a lot of pettiness and rivalry and weird stories in there too.
I am going to promote this book for you coming, so don't you worry.
I appreciate it.
But last question on those Niners teams. This is actually unfair to George Seifert because he won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
If Bill Walsh doesn't step away after Super Bowl 23, do the Niners three-peat and win in 90?
Well, '88 was a struggle, and I just saw that as an observer. But they were alternating Montana and Young sometimes in each half. Walsh was a mess. They were 6-5, and they played this Monday night game against the Redskins in Washington, who were the defending champs. And each team was 6-5, and the loser was probably going to, be done. And Montana played. They rose up. They beat them. They went on a run, and then got their mojo. One of the last stories I did for Sports Illustrated, I was there from 94 to 07, was right when Bill Walsh had terminal cancer and was pretty ill. I got to sit with him in, Menlo Park at a country club, and we sat there for hours. And I wrote this haunting story because, I only got to see Walsh. I mean, I saw him post-coaching, but I started the year Seifert took over. So Bill Walsh to me was still this, legendary presence. And we talked about everything. And what the story starts in SI, one of the things he says is, I should never have walked away. I was a mess. And what I really should have told Eddie is I need a month or two to just clear my head and then come back. And he said, I left so much on the table and it would have been okay. So Bill Walsh's basically his dying regret was that he didn't come back and coach that team.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You Better You Bet here on this Wednesday. Mike Silver is our guest from The Athletic. His book, The Why Is Everything, is my favorite football book I've ever read. It's sensational.
I mean, some people would say that, and I'd be like, that's really great, but because you are known for having the best taste of anyone in the business, impeccable
taste.
That's an even higher compliment.
So let's talk about the book and some of the access that you have to these coaches. Like, is that just relationships that develop over the years? Because the way it comes across to me is reading it as however you're able to make it happen, probably because of your personality and who you are, you have become, and I'm not guessing, it's just the truth, you read it, you see it, you're somewhat of a confidant, right, for Shawne McVay, Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel. How does something like that happen?
Well, you're right. I am an exceptionally charming individual. So, listen, first of all, so much credit to Mike Shanahan, who I go way back with and, trusted me to.
He needs to be in the Hall of Fame as soon as possible.
Ridiculous. And sore subject right now because a lot of Hall of Fame atrocities. I'm not a voter. I'm an AP voter, not a Hall of Fame voter. But, Mike Shanahan should be in the Hall of Fame. But, I knew there was something there with this crew. I mean, I've known Kyle since he's a kid, literally, like he's in my Super Bowl stories, the 2 Bronco victories, hanging out in his dad's hotel suite with me. I mean, I have these vivid memories. But so I followed Kyle closely when he got to Houston and all that, and I saw kind of what was going on in Washington in the early 2010s. But I knew there was something happening and something there before I actually knew what it was. So as far back as 2018, I started taping Mike McDaniel, and he was pretty unknown, and he's so different and cool. Everyone knows now. But we sat there and had some meals where we just talked, and I was like, I got to tape you, dude. This is wild. And so everybody, to some degree or another, really played along. Kyle was the most resistant, and in fairness to Kyle, I took a job with the San Francisco Chronicle in 2022 as a columnist after I left NFL Network. So I spent a bunch of time in the building. I found out a lot of stuff. So it's a little, the dance is a little harder when, he's trying to control the flow of information and I'm finding stuff out because, I have good sources and I'm giving opinions. So I think he and I are cool and still cool, but I don't think he loved the idea of a book being done on that subject at that time. But to his credit, he still played along enough for it to be cool.
I'm going to ask you a question that you're not going to want to answer. And I've actually, because since I found out you were coming on the show, I've been wanting to ask you this question.
Okay.
Now, this is your personal preference.
Yeah.
If you're the owner of an NFL team, and you can hire one of the following 2 coaches to be the head coach of your team.
Chills.
Who are you taking and why? Kyle Shanahan or Shawne McVay?
Oh, man. Yes.
And by the way, that is the right answer, would be either, but if you could only choose one.
So it's such a great question because I wrote about this a lot in the book, right? Like there's a chapter called...
Oh, this is why I'm asking, because I read it.
There's a chapter called Enemy Friends, which is a Raheem Morris quote, who's close with both of them now, is working with Kyle, had worked with Shawne in LA, goes way back with Kyle, but he said enemy first for a reason, because they're in the same division, they're so competitive. This is how I would say it. Now, if Shawne and Kyle and I were sitting here with beers and truth serum, I'm confident this is what would take place. Shawne would say, I agree. Schematically, there is a level even above where I am, tiny bit of level that Kyle probably is at. But I think on the leadership and the motivation and the totality of it, that's my superpower. And I think Kyle would go, screw that other stuff. I'm the scheme wizard, and they're both right, and they're both great. Kyle's gotten way better at the other thing, and Shawne's brilliant at scheme. McDaniel, to me, put it the best. He said, yeah, each of them has to think that existentially, or you can't be. Kyle has to think it's all about the scheme ultimately, and Shawne has to think, no, it's the leadership. But, I don't know what to say. I know Kyle hasn't won the big one and has been knocking on the door, but he will. And he's so good, and he's so good with personnel, and I think he'll be right back in that mix next year. What he did this year was incredible with all the injuries. Shawne, I just texted Shawne yesterday, and I was like, hey, keep swinging, because I know how he is, and he's crushed that they didn't win what may turn out to be the real Super Bowl.
Yeah, against the Seahawks.
But, I've seen Shawne up, down, whatever, but, Shawne will find a way to be right back in that mix. I don't know, but let me answer it this way. I wrote a story when the Broncos, after the 2 Super Bowls, Elway retired. The next year they started 0-4, and I wrote this story for Sports Illustrated. The cover was, we're finished, in quotes. The Broncos season is over, just ask them. Terrell Davis blew out his ACL. I went out with about 20 Bronco players to the Chop House in Denver before I wrote, and they were doing gallows humor, like, stick a fork in me, like a literal fork, or see that beer tank? I'm going into that tank right there. I wrote it as gallows humor. It got put on the cover like that. The rest of America took it as, wow, the Broncos are quitting.
Yeah.
Mike Shanahan, who I had a great relationship, was really displeased and explained to me eventually why he was displeased. But the story goes that his longtime secretary, Cindy, who was wonderful, that Mike Shanahan was on DEFCON 4 on me, and that I went on the Jim Rome show. I could still picture doing
our Westwood One Sports
and I was
colleague.
I was driving in down Piedmont Avenue in Oakland doing Jim Rome, and they were kind of Rome kind of went to the, hey, is Mike Shanahan losing the team? Because Rome is the greatest interviewer. It's not about him. He just asked the real question. And I said, Roby, look, I don't want to overstate this. I said, yeah, there's a lot going on, and Elway's gone. I said, but if my life were on the line and I had to score a touchdown with one drive down the field or I die, I would want Mike Shanahan scheming it up and calling those plays. The story goes that Cindy, the secretary, had it on in the front part, went running in to tell Mike.
That's awesome.
And he softened just enough to call me, and it worked out. So the real answer is Mike Shanahan.
Okay, Mike Shanahan, not Kyle Shanahan, not Shawne McFadden.
They're both chumps. And by the way, they both bow down to Mike Shanahan, as do LaFleur and McDaniel and Raheem. They would all agree on that. Mike Shanahan's the king.
Let's go lightning round if it's cool.
Yeah.
And these are going to be like a little bit. These are heavy questions, but maybe we can get through them just because you've been very generous with your time.
Oh no, it's been great.
It is of my opinion, if Kyle Shanahan does not win a Super Bowl championship, I actually think it will be one of the great injustices in the history of sports. Is that an overstatement?
No, but the rebuttal is Andy Reid. We went through this. Andy Reid went for years and years and years. Everyone loves him.
Can I give you my opinion? I think Kyle's better.
Right, but I mean, we all said Andy Reid isn't going to ever win the big one. This is crazy. And then all of a sudden it was like, can he win 10?
Well, so basically what you're saying is we need to get Kyle Patrick Mahomes, and then it'll be all right.
He may have him in Brock. I think we need to get him. The defense grows a little. Raheem's a genius, and we just need a little more health. As much as this is killing the Niners to have the Seahawks in their city, next year it's in L.A. Imagine Jed York next year in L.A. You got the Rams, but you've also got Jim Harbaugh.
Give me
You're like, what's up, buddy?
Give me 30 seconds on I said on Monday, after the Raheem Morris hire. I was flying here and I got it on my phone, the notification. I think it is an A-plus slam dunk hire of Raheem as the DC for Kyle Shanahan. Agree or disagree on Raheem and San Fran?
Oh, agree. And they're best friends, so that wasn't like a traditional, should I hire? Like, that's just two best friends going, hey, should we do it? And then as soon as they were both like, yeah, only the Cardinals could have fouled it up by giving Ra the head job. Now, okay, will Raheem get another head job like Saleh? I hope so. He should. But you take that risk. You just get the best guy now.
What do you think of the Mike LaFleur hire in Arizona? And I'll say this, I said it to you off air. I don't think it's intentional by you. Like Mike LaFleur, Matt's brother obviously, kind of comes across in the book kind of like an afterthought. And I am sure that is not your intention. But the others are main characters, and he is just becoming one now. How do you think it's going to go for him in Arizona?
I think he's got a shot. Now, it's Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Mike McDonald.
I mean, it's impossible.
The division. Really, a lot of it's dependent on the quarterback situation. He went through it with Zach Wilson. I think he learned some things. Kyler's obviously way better. I would imagine during those days of conversations they had that they have a plan. So once I know what that quarterback plan is, whether it's Kyler or probably more likely not, I'll feel like I can weigh in a little more. But listen, Mike LaFleur is a very, very smart coach, and I think he's going to be a lot better. He was in the cesspool in New York with all that pressure with Zach Wilson. He's told me, like, hey, when I get in a situation like that again, I'm not going to overthink some things. I'm just going to go do what I know foundationally. So I'm excited to see it. I kind of wish it was in like, some sandbag division like the NFC South or something. But, I think they'll have a shot.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I'm trying to talk myself into not thinking the Patriots are, kind of overachieving. And I think Mike Vrabel's done one of the greatest coaching jobs I've literally ever seen in sports this year. I think Seattle's better. I think Seattle will win, but I've counted the Patriots out 8 million times this year. So as it gets closer to game time, I want to be a little more like open to the idea that maybe they'll just do it.
Give us about 30 seconds here. Promote the book, The Why is Everything. I have read it. It is great. Tell the people why they should check it out.
The Why is Everything, a story of football rivalry and revolution, available everywhere. I think people are going to love it because football's changed a lot. And the way that these guys think, the McVays, the Shanahans, the LaFleurs, the Raheem Morrises, it's just a different way of thinking. It's not so much, hey, I have a really cool menu and which play should I pick? I like that one. It's an ecosystem. It's adaptable. It's figuring out your rules and using them against you. And it's changed the game. And I think when you read it, you'll look at everything and go, oh, yeah, like it's not so much like I understand it schematically. How could I or anyone? But you'll understand conceptually the way they think.
Great job.
Thank you so much, Nick. And your taste is impeccable. You're a handsome man and a great broadcaster. So thank you for having me.
You know what? Hey, flattery gets you everywhere.
Only when it's from the heart, baby.
I love it. Mike Silver joining us here on You Better You Bet. The show continues on the other side. You Better You Bet, Westwood One Sports. Nick Costos presented by BetMGM. Joining me now, former NFL quarterback Jeff Garcia. Jeff, welcome to Radio Row. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you. But it's start of the day. Ask me in a couple hours. And I might be all talked out by then.
I'm going to ask you in like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. I hated you.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you, I don't now. But there was a time when I did. Now, I turned 43 later this year. As my life has gone on, I don't care as much. I was a psychotic New York Football Giants fan.
I knew it. I knew it.
I knew it. I knew you did. So, not that I remember, but January 4th, 2003, Giants 38, 49ers 14. You guys come back and win that game 39-38. Perhaps it will give you some pleasure to know that in my life as a sports fan, by far the worst loss of my sports fandom was that day. So you have that going for you. I love you now, and I'm happy that you came on the show. What do you remember about that day in that game?
Well, the fact that we were able to relive it in the last year, it played again. Don't call it a comeback. It's on Vice Sports on Hulu, and you could relive all of those glory days.
Man. I'm good.
Actually, Amani Toomer was nice enough to be on the show to talk about it because he was having a hell of a day. And, you know, a lot of things had to fall into our place, into our lap in order for that to happen. Obviously, special teams muffs, which they had 2 snaps and
Trey Junkin,
two failed kicks, but also a punt that we got a penalty on.
Vinny Sutherland is
Vinny
the punt
Sutherland,
return. Yeah.
they roughed him, so we got an extra 15. And then, do you remember Jeremy Shockey dropping a touchdown pass?
And then, well, because earlier in the game, he caught a touchdown and gyrated and pointed at the camera.
Right.
And I remember saying to my dad, "The game, no, please don't do this." And Strahan took TO and pointed at the scoreboard, right? To
Yes,
be like we're still ahead.
That's
and it was,
right.
Yeah,
that's
man.
right. Yeah. So there were a lot of things, but for me, that was obviously one of the greatest NFL moments that I had in my career. And obviously, I grew up in the Bay Area, so playing for the hometown team and being able to be that guy on that field that day and following guys like Montana and Young was not an easy thing to do, but I was trying to do it in my own way.
Be honest. Chike O'Keefer gave Rich Seibert the rock bottom, right? Like the Stone Cold Stunner, and they didn't throw a flag. Yes, on the final play?
He did. Would he have caught the ball? No. He would not have caught the ball.
Jeff,
and he would not have scored either. Coming from the Canadian Football League and getting my first with the 49ers, coming to the Niners, I thought, well, I'll back up Steve Young. I'll learn for a couple years. He'll retire. I'll take over. Hey, they've been winning championships through the 80s and 90s. What can be any different? And then all of a sudden he gets injured. I step onto the field and I'm learning through trial by fire. And people who are looking at the team, they only see the difference at the quarterback position, not that the team has gotten old, that they're going through transition, all those things. And I was shouldering a lot of that burden early on, and I struggled with it my first year.
How could you not, to be fair?
I got through it. I had to remind myself, you can't be Joe, you can't be Steve, you got to be yourself, got to be Jeff, run it the way you know how to run it, learn the system, grow within the system, get your athletes involved. We had T.O., we had Jerry Rice, we had 2 of the greatest receivers to play the game.
Pretty good.
Not bad to be able to throw to those guys. So, hey, take advantage of it. And I was able to turn it around quickly, so to speak. And yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, not being a drafted quarterback in the NFL, having to go the long route through Canada, hey, I came in and I proved my what I was capable of, the opportunities that presented themselves. I took advantage of them, and I pushed my way to the top.
You had, even after leaving San Francisco, I think such a fascinating career, right? Had the run in Philadelphia where you beat my Giants again in the playoffs.
That's
right. Just seemed like something you really liked
Always to do. Against the Giants, man. But then they got me back the next year.
In Tampa, right?
In Tampa.
So after San Francisco, what stands out as one of the favorite moments in your career post San Francisco 49ers?
I think that Eagle run, first of all, playing in the NFC East division.
Yeah.
Every game is a rivalry. The fans hate each other. And as a player, you ride that wave of emotion as well. Hey, the game against Washington, the game against New York, the game against Dallas. And we had 3 road games against the NFC East back to back to back. And we were in a position at that point when I stepped on the field taking over for Donovan because of an injury where it was, hey, we had to win every one of those. And to be able to do that in enemy territory against the NFC East division rivals was an awesome experience for me being a Philadelphia Eagle.
Are you, I'm guessing the answer is yes. And I only say this because I've been watching the NFL long enough that I watched your whole career. I mean, are you super proud of what you did? I would hope the answer to that question is yes, because I'm just talking as a fan who lived in New York. It wasn't that people thought it wasn't he stinks or anything like that. Just that you came out of nowhere and people, I think, kind of maybe probably looked past you a little bit and you were able to do it and win playoff games. That's pretty awesome, right?
I think a lot of that is what fueled my fire was just the lack of respect that was there. I sometimes equated myself to Rodney Dangerfield. I just get no respect, right?
Do you feel like you got it as your career went on?
I feel like I earned it, absolutely. And I think that's the greatest part about it. It was that I did earn it. I went out there and I proved myself, whether good or bad or equal. I overcame a lot of challenges, adversity. We all do. But I think I proved myself that I was worthy. and I did some memorable things that will stick with us for a long time, long career,
forever.
Forever.
That's the truth,
absolutely.
man. It really is. That Vice did it. God, I hated that, man. that was the worst. Who do you like in the Super Bowl on Sunday, Pats or Seahawks?
I like the Seahawks. I think both teams are great teams this year. I like what the Seahawks have done as a complete team. Defensively, they're solid. I've watched them, beat the crap out of the Niners the last couple games of the year just because they were so dominant on the defensive side. And then, the whole quarterback situation with Seattle, what he's overcome, being a Jets first-round draft pick to being almost tossed out of the league.
Do you see yourself in him at
irrelevant.
all?
I think there's some similarities in the fact that he's just now coming into his own, and I think that's the biggest thing about the quarterback position. You're not your best at 21, 22, 23. If you mature properly and grow properly and experience things in the right fashion at 28, 29, 30, you're really going to start to hit your prime. And that's where he is. Darnold right now is hitting his prime. He's done a great job in Minnesota last year and now Seattle this year, but he's got talent around him. He has a great team around him, and that's what's great about the position is learning how to incorporate your teammates. And Drake May does the same, but at a lot younger level, and he's doing a great job.
Tell us what you've got going on. A couple more minutes with former NFL quarterback Jeff Garcia, with our friends
I'm here.
at Revive.
Hey, Mueller Sports Medicine have been around the league, been around the game for 66 years. Revive, their product, their inflatable boots help to recover, help to deal with swelling, activate the lymphatic system, flush the toxins out of our body for moments of rehabilitation. They also have the Revive Award at reviveaward.com that will give an NIL gift of $10,000 to the top female or male collegiate athlete who not only exemplifies greatness in the sport, but also overcoming the injuries, the adversity off the playing field as well.
Love it. What's next for Jeff Garcia?
Man, so I'm the proud dad of 4 teenagers. My oldest daughter is a flag football player. I'm hoping to see her play college flag football now that it's become a legitimate NCAA emerging sport. And so that just being able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Do you want to coach?
I've enjoyed and I've coached. I've coached at the professional level as well as the youth level. I really enjoy working with the kids, the high school age kids, where I feel like I could still be influential.
Awesome.
So yes. I know you've got a lot of interviews. I mean this sincerely. I hope that none of them start with someone saying that they dislike you the way like this one did. But man, that was I'm ashamed to say this. I cried in my room for like 2 hours after that game. But it was a great win by you guys. It was pretty awesome. I know, and I know the mentality of the East Coast fans, having been in Philadelphia. I know how their week really relies on how Sunday goes.
Which it says something about something. It's probably not great.
I'm sorry you had a lot of bad Sundays this past year, but maybe things will get turned around.
We'll see. Hopefully John Harbaugh turns it around.
Yeah.
Jeff Garcia here with us.
Big guy.
Thank you very much.
Good talking to you.
Jeff Garcia here with us on You Better You Bet. More show on the other side. You Better You Bet, live on Radio Row. The site, not technically, Santa Clara is where the Super Bowl will be played. Radio Row here in San Francisco, California. Westwood One Sports presented by BetMGM. Nick Costos here with you. Joining me now on the show. Very excited to bring him on. Now, you have Jeff Miller with me. One of the great titles I've ever seen.
So long.
It's it. But like
it's terrible, Nick. It's terrible. I need a team of people to work on this.
Now, would you agree that the longer the better, actually? Because it's like more things that you do, ergo more responsibility. I'll say this so you don't have to, probably ergo more money. I'm guessing. It's a long-ass title, man.
The money part is really in the eye of the beholder. I'll leave that to my wife. The number of words associated with the title don't necessarily equate, I can assure you.
All right, so Jeff Miller is the Executive Vice President of Communications, Public Affairs and Policy, Player Health and Safety Initiative. Is that it?
I guess, today anyway. That's what it is today.
How do you do all of that?
I don't do anything. You have plenty of people that work with you that do all the work. Nick, you know this. You know this. You have plenty of people behind the scenes who do all the real work, and you take credit for it. That's the goal.
Like Bill, Bill, who takes the credit for the show being really good? You or me? You're wrong. I did. Well, then you're fired. See you later. I can't have anyone doing that.
Bill's not looking for credit, huh?
But he's a good producer.
He's good.
That's when I was a producer. I felt the same way. Got a lot of really fun topics to hit
Let's
with
go.
you. I
Let's
want
go.
to start with the expansion of international games.
Great.
So the commissioner talked about it, and just to give you my opinion, on the East Coast, I'm obsessed with the international games
Okay, why?
because it's football all day.
9:30 a.m. You love that, huh?
9:30, and I'm on
Yeah.
the air from 11 to 1, and I'm on from 8 to 9. So my show, I'm on WFAN in New York, 8 to 9.
Sure. Yeah.
And then my national show is 11 to 1.
Yeah.
So I'm getting
We
fired
all
up.
listen to Westwood.
Absolutely. Westwood One, amazing.
Of course.
I love being a part of the Westwood One team. And it's right. I end right as the game's about to start. I'm on the air while the game's being played, and it's just an appetizer for the day to come. So I love that there are more games. And I'm fired up about some of the new sites that you've got coming up. So we've seen games in Mexico City, Madrid, Munich, Brazil, Paris, Melbourne, Australia. Tell us about this coming up for the 2026
Yeah, we'll be at
season.
9 games, which is the most we've ever done. Commissioners talked about getting to 16 eventually. There's a lot of demand out there. A lot of cities we hear from that want to host NFL games, and certainly return to a lot of places where we've been before, because once we're there, it really seems to light the fire of interest among our fans. And if anybody is listening and hasn't been to one of these cities, for follow your team. It's a unique experience. I've been in Madrid, I've been in Sao Paulo, I've been in London. It is just it's a festival of football.
Can you
to
tell
be
us,
there.
like, what's it? How is it different from a game in the United States?
I think it's because you don't know what the expectation is. It used to be several years ago, you'd go to London and you would see a jersey from every team, and they were really just there to celebrate football. Now you go, and their fan bases who know the game. It used to be they got very excited about a field goal, which of course is exciting in its own right, but I think they like the kicking aspect of it. But our fan bases internationally are incredibly mature and insightful and understand the strategy and tactics of the game. And I'm not sure that I'm giving them enough credit, because you feel like you're among football people. If you walk down the streets of Madrid in the days leading to the game, you are overwhelmed with people who want to talk about NFL football.
That was Dolphins Commanders was the Madrid
Correct.
game.
Overtime game. And that was really exciting at the end of the day. Beautiful stadium in Bernabeu. And I think the other cities too. We're going to be in Melbourne for the first time.
Awesome.
So another continent. We'll be in 4 continents. Paris for the first time. Mexico City, we haven't been in a while because they've been renovating the stadium. And we have a huge fan base in Mexico, which is great. And so the point is, the demand is there. Getting to 16 games, which is what the commissioner's stated goal has been, requires supply. We don't play games every day of the week. As you know, there are only so many. So that's going to take a little bit of time. But we'd like to get to the place where every team plays a game internationally every year.
What would you say is the international city that has the strongest connection to a team is what? Is it like Dublin with the Steelers? Like, what would you say it is?
Oh, that was overwhelming.
That was fun, man.
That was really something, and we'll be back there for sure. I guess off the top of my head, if I had to choose one, the Jaguars in London have done, because they play there annually.
I call them the London Jaguars.
They do a great job.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
They do a great job of cultivating the fan base there. There are true Jaguars fans that are diehard, dedicated fans, and Jaguars clubs and pubs that they take over. They do a terrific job. And by the way, other clubs are doing that too with their global marketing rights when they go into different cities. Like the Saints in Paris have had a presence in Paris, despite the fact that we've never played in Paris, and the Saints will be there, have had a presence there for quite some time. And so the fan base there will be a lot of New Orleans Saints fans. Whoever they play, I'm sure will bring fans too. But it's interesting to watch those grow. It happens before your very eyes.
So 16 international games is
Someday.
going to be the goal.
Someday.
I think it's awesome. Football all day. Okay, what you said on we don't play every day of the week. It's kind of like, I'll be honest, the Christmas games, no one loves the NFL more than me. No one loves the NFL more than me.
I think you're on record, Nick. Go ahead. We got you.
Hang out with my family on Christmas a little bit. Are we going to see games, like if Christmas is on a Tuesday, we're going to have Tuesday games. We're going to have games on Wednesday, because it feels to a lot of fans, and I love it more than anybody. It feels like we're going to reach a point where there's going to be games every day of the week. Like, do you think that's something down the pipe?
Well, the holiday games are really interesting and fun. Thanksgiving, of course, has been a tradition for a number of years. Football goes with family and food and Thanksgiving, and we've all grown up with it, and we all love it. The Christmas aspect of this has been newer, but fans have gravitated towards it. The ratings on the Netflix games have been great. We've heard great feedback from our fans. Obviously, Netflix has done a great job with it, including the concerts and making a huge event out of the whole thing, and have innovated around that in a way that's been great. some of us, I don't know what your family life is like, Nick, and I wouldn't pretend, but I like watching football on Christmas.
I love it.
It's not bad for me.
Do you know what it is? I'll be honest.
I'm okay with it.
I'll be honest with you, Jeff. What it comes down to is, my wife hates football season just because I'm not home. and on Christmas, when it's like, well, you know, honey, like we'll hang out, but Daddy needs to watch this game.
Of course, you're working. You're working.
And it never feels like that because I love it. But that's the only consternation that comes for me.
You're working.
I'm working.
Football puts food on the table for your family, Nick.
It does.
I think that you absolutely should be watching on Christmas.
Can I will you?
You want me to call her?
Should we do it now?
We could do it whenever you want.
Should I FaceTime her right now? Should I FaceTime her right now?
I think she'd be shocked.
Jeff Miller with us, Executive Vice President of Communications, Public Affairs, Policy, Player Health, Safety Initiatives for the National Football League. Let's talk about player health and safety.
Yeah, please.
I was pretty surprised last year that the tush push did not get banned. And I thought, like, when it got tabled, kind of the conversation was around types that at least think they know what's going on in the NFL was, well, the commissioner tabled it because he wants to get the votes ready for it to get banned. It doesn't get banned. It exists this season. I think most fans, maybe outside of the city of Philadelphia, are kind of done with the play. What do you think happens this offseason with the tush push?
I thought that the conversation last year evolved in a really interesting way, and we're going to pick up with that, I am sure. People say, you know, after Super Bowl, you take a lot of time off. We don't. We go right into like the competition committee and
you go to Indy. You go to Indy for the Combine?
I'm there for a week at Combine,
Yeah.
so we have a lot of other things going on. But that's where these conversations are going to happen. But getting back to the tush push, the conversation evolved to the version of the quarterback sneak and push, to pushing or pulling a player anywhere on the field, which had been in the rule book as impermissible from the beginning of the NFL until about 2005. You weren't allowed to pull or push. And for some reason, it fell out, I think, in large part because officiating was like, well, we don't know when to call the play dead. And if you watch the NFL today and you watch games and you see piles being pushed downfield, forget the quarterback for a minute, but piles being pushed downfield as a runner advances, we all look at it, or at least I do, and go, I don't know when that play ends. Like, should he stop him here? Or if you're rooting for the team who's pushing, maybe 3 more yards is great. And so I think that's what officiating and the competition committee is trying to figure out, which is there are a lot of people who think it looks like rugby and it doesn't feel like football. There's some people who have expressed concern about the safety of it. We don't have a lot of injury data on the play, but it's not just at the line of scrimmage, it's the pushing downfield part. And I think we have to define when is a play dead. And I think that's going to be the challenge for the competition committee in this offseason. I know we're going to spend a lot of time on it. Where that debate ends up, I don't know, but it does feel a little different from a typical NFL play.
Let's talk about the proposed 18-game schedule, or at least Commissioner Goodell addressed it a couple days ago, saying it's not a certainty that it will happen.
Yeah.
The NFLPA is kind of open that it doesn't want to go to 18 games, and you know I want to make sure, Player Health and Safety Initiative Executive Vice President. Kind of like, how do you feel about this? Do you think it's going to be something that happens down the road?
Well, the first point is that when the commissioner talks about it not being an inevitability, that's certainly the case, because in our last agreement with the Players Association, we agreed that if we were to go from what was then 16 to 17 and now 17 to 18 regular season games, it would be with their approval. So we have to talk to them about that. And so we're not going to get there without the players weighing in on it, and that's important. And there could be a lot of other elements that go to it. Obviously, you would consider dropping a preseason game. You may talk about whether there's a second bye during the season. You may talk about what the roster construction looks like. I think we'd look at the entirety of the year and how much players are hitting, how you can practice better, how you can safeguard them. There's a lot of interesting things in the data that show up. For example, we know that players need high-speed, intense practices or games before the season starts, reaching their highest speeds, or else they're more likely to get injured when the season starts. So how do we offer them those opportunities and do so in a safer way? Turns out preseason games aren't great for that. So we need to relook at everything if we're going to go to 18.
Especially now, right, where I think, like, not the vast majority, but a lot, way more than in the past. When I was growing up, you would get every single game. The starters would play to some degree.
Right.
Now there are some teams that don't play. The Falcons didn't play their starters for one snap the entire preseason.
Right, and it's not great from a projection point for health and safety, unless, and you've seen this as a fan, you've seen joint practices, the advent of joint practices in the last few years.
And those are almost, it's funny, show it's like this is actually more important than the actual game.
Because you see the ones-on-ones. The number one on my team is playing the number one on your team and lining up against them and getting an intense practice, and then they don't go and play in the game the next day. So you're saying that, well, they need, they're right. The coaches are right to get the players out there and to get them those reps. How they do it and when they do it should be a conversation that we have.
I'd like to make you money. Are you ready?
Sure.
I got $1 million idea for you.
Let's go.
Put the joint practices in prime time.
You like that?
Do you like it?
It's interesting because It's been talked about before, suggested. There isn't uniformity
The
yet.
preseason game, I'm saying
There
you
isn't
don't have to.
uniformity
The
yet.
preseason games stink. The joint practices would be awesome, I think. If we put those on.
The preseason games aren't my favorite product. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, but like the joint practices in primetime, what NFL fan wouldn't watch the hell out of that and love it?
You'd want to make sure that there's structure behind it and purpose behind it, but I get it. And an insight as to how your team's getting ready for the season is not the worst idea.
What do you think is the next evolution of the way fans consume the NFL? Whether it's more of an emphasis on streaming moving forward, and look, we had Scott Hansen on yesterday, and I said to Scott, people complain about stuff that they really love. People complain about Red Zone. Guess what? Everyone watches it. It's great. People can complain about, well, the game's on a streaming platform. Guess what? Everybody's watching it still. And I think those complaints are dying down as the years go on. Do you think there's going to be more of an emphasis on that in the years to come?
It's an incredibly dynamic marketplace. The partners that we have now, you mentioned the Netflix games earlier. You've seen YouTube with a global presence. We've been on Peacock, not instead of, because we still have 87% of our games are free over the air TV, and 100% your competing teams home market because we believe in reach. But watching my kids watch content, specifically football, is very different from the way you and I are used to doing it, and we need to be in front of them. So with the streamers, not instead of traditional broadcast, but in addition to, provides Altcast, provides next-gen stats, provides all these other ways that you can go about engaging with the game, which peels some of the layers back. It's a different way to watch the game. And listen, I'm no huge fan of legalized sports betting. I don't do it personally. In fact, I'd be fired if I did. But I know that there are some of our fans who enjoy that. And so there's some engagement there too. And you can think about it from your perspective, whether it be an Altcast or whether it be streaming or whether it be traditional broadcast, the more opportunities for fans to engage with our game where they are and how they like it is going to be good for football overall.
I'm only asking this because you brought it up, and with just like a couple more minutes here with Jeff Miller.
Yes, please.
Will there ever be, and feel free to just shoot this down, like a betting fantasy version of Red Zone where it's just solely focused on, you know, like the end of game, a game going over the total, or something that's more, because, you know, Scott, and he's doing it correctly, is focused on like who's going to win the game at the end. Whereas this could be, you know, this receiver is going to go over 150 yards and there's a bonus or whatever, and we go to that game. Is that something that you guys have ever talked about?
Look, as you might imagine, and I'm sure you know this because you know a lot of NFL fans, people have different perspectives on this. There are fans who enjoy engaging with sports betting and try to do, you know, want to do as much as they can, even if it's for a little bit of money. There are others who just don't want it cluttering their life. And that's a substantial number of people that aren't interested in engaging with it at all, don't want to see it on their televisions. And we need to satisfy all those people, right? So as the products evolve, we need to be careful as we think about what the restraints are, and we limit sports betting advertising, as you know, because we have a whole bunch of fans who just don't want to see that. There are others who want to engage with it. So it's so many fans, and we are blessed to have such a wide population of fans that we need to try to do our best to accommodate all of them in different ways. And that's the conversation that we have.
What is your background? Have you ever done media?
No, I just do interviews occasionally.
You are, and I'm not just. If I thought,
is this live? Are we doing this?
It's not live. So I'm being honest here, right? If I thought Jeff stunk, I just would say nothing. If he was like, this interview stunk, I would say nothing. But it doesn't. Like, you have. I'm being serious. You have exceptional charisma. You speak very well. You speak fast like I do, so I really like that.
Well, it's a New York thing. Having moved to New York, I picked up the velocity of my cadence
you
try to
sound
match.
like you grew up next door to me.
I know. It's weird, right?
I think it's awesome.
Home is Wisconsin. It's much slower, much more deliberate, patient. You New Yorkers are crazy.
I think Commish needs to put you on camera. I'm not joking.
Nobody wants to see this face, Nick.
But
we agreed. We're agreed on that.
Do you like doing media?
I don't mind it. I get insights into a lot of what the league does in my role in communications.
Yeah.
I love the health and safety stuff.
Yeah.
And so one wonderful thing about working at the league is you have a perspective on a lot of really interesting issues that our fans want to know about. And to your point, all the right questions about where's the league going. So few people who are avid like you are ask about what you're doing now, and they ask about where it's going, because you're contemplating the same things that I think about and we think about in the office. What's the next 5 years going to look like? What's going to look like 10 years down the road? What is it going to be like for your daughter when she becomes an NFL fan? That's where our heads are. And it's interesting to engage with people who have like really interesting ideas and have thought about it.
Final question, most important question.
Yeah.
How awesome is football?
It's the best. We have the best. Nick,
the best.
We have the best game.
By far.
That's the key.
I'll get you out of here in a second. The first year I watched is 1990. I'm a Giants fan. Giants win the Super Bowl.
Amazing. You're hooked.
I used to get the NFL record and fact books. Remember those?
Every
year for Christmas.
Of course.
Read them front to back. I have been an obsessive, diehard fan for almost my entire life. So this is like outside of like my family, the NFL is my favorite thing. So the answer, I think, to answer the question I asked, which is a faux pas in my industry, the best.
It's the best game.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Thanks,
This
Nick.
was a lot
Enjoy
of
your
fun.
week. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I will. Jeff Miller joining us on the show. Ready? Executive Vice President of Communications, Public Affairs and Policy, Player Health and Safety Initiatives. Appreciate it, man.